trying to make sure it's going.
Great.
Oh, I need to get on Twitch so I can harass those nerds in chat.
Okay. We are.
Do we have? Are there nerds that watch us?
Yeah, one. She's called
No.
Corinne Gott.
We had a fan once.
Morgan,
The fan went back to work.
Morgan used to watch it, but then he was like, 6 hours of people talking is too much for me. So, yeah. Anyway. Viros. It's snowy. Because, of course, it is. It's a Christmas episode. All the towers and buildings are lit up beautifully, and Byros has a lot of money, so it's... I called it Byros. Maybe that's the future. Viros.
One day.
Viros is very wealthy, and so they have lots of money for decoration and pageantry, and there's that kind of palpable Christmas ice rain excitement in the air as the large group of lords of the keep and their significant others and friends arrive on a cobbled street. As with the rest of Viros, the street is fairly wide and open, and was not really built along with the rest of the city with the imagining that Viros would one day become the gigantic capital that it is today. And so maybe not the most efficient use of space, but nonetheless the houses here are beautiful. They're these very large kind of square town mansions, not huge grounds around them, but large floor space, large buildings, a bit of a garden, maybe a pond in the back sort of thing. And Byron leads you all down the road, this perfect row of hedges and fences either side of you, until you stop at one house, one of the larger ones. You see candles burning in a couple of the windows, and you see that the kind of old style of the house has been updated somewhat, so it still retains its charm, but is a little more, looks a little less run down than the oldest of buildings in Viros, and is much more sort of, not necessarily modernized, but made to look neat. And as you travel down the short path to the front door, you get that sort of weird, slight nervousness when you're about to meet new people or people you haven't seen in a while. Knock on the brass knocker, and the door swings open shortly afterwards. You see a tall, very prim-looking man. His hair kind of slicked back, a very neat kind of pencil mustache, and he's wearing a coat with tails and a white shirt and waistcoat. These sort of grey trousers, the crease of which has been ironed so that it looks like it could cut just as well as a sword. And he kind of raises an eyebrow and inclines his head towards Byron. Says, Byron, good to see you again. And he kind of steps aside to let you in. Byron, you'd know this is Hornsby, the butler, sort of manager of the house, as it were.
Just real quick interjection. Remy's probably not there yet, since he didn't teleport
For sure.
from the keep. Yeah, just to clear that.
Sorry, just correcting. And you, Hornsby, and you. And he's like steps over the threshold and like grips the man in a handshake.
Yeah.
But like two hands.
Yeah, you get two hands from him as well. It's a very affectionate sort of thing. And his hair's going a bit grey at the temples. He's by no means old, but he's been with your family for a very long time and knows you very well. And just then there's a sort of like, almost like a clip-clopping sound. And Byron, you see your mother come sort of, not necessarily jogging, but hurrying through into the atrium. And for those of you who haven't been before, it's like a very wide open room. There's a very large open grand piano as a sort of centerpiece, and then these kind of twin curving stairs. Everything is like spotlessly clean and has this sort of eclectic but curated feel to the decoration, where there's all these wildly different pieces of art and cultural iconography, but and they're all very different, but they're very they work well together, and the colors kind of play into one another and nothing clashes. It's a very well designed home. Byron, you see your mother, Beatrix, kind of coming towards you, arms outstretched. Again, she has this very kind of good posture, similar sort of pale hair to you, a big smile on her face. She's like, and she kind of embraces you in a big hug, and she says, "Oh, Byron, it's so good to see you again," and kind of gives you a bit of a squeeze. You're a little bit taller than her now, but she still hugs you like you're still a child, like her little boy.
And the same to you, mother. And he's like being crushed and is trying to like return the hug.
And you see behind him, your father sort of comes through, not acting as excited, but still beaming and happy to see you. He's got a small glass in his hand, like some brandy in it. And he's wearing a sort of casual smoking jacket, sort of formal casual, I would say. Kind of walks over, puts an arm around you, and sort of pulls you in away from your mother for a hug for you as well. While Beatrix kind of turns to the rest of you and begins shaking hands and saying hello and all the rest of it. And she also gives Vela a very big hug, and Vela's eyes kind of go wide a bit in nerves, but Beatrix kind of seems or pretends not to notice. And Hornsby sort of clears his throat and says, maybe we should move in a little, and kind of closes the door and lets you all get out of the cold. And so kind of Horatio like pats you on the shoulder, Byron, and says, well, come, tell me what you've been up to. And he's sort of leading you through into the drawing room.
I'm not sure where I should begin. He's kind of like looking back to like Elishan and the others. There has been so much.
I don't doubt it. Kind of chuckles and like he leads you into this large room. There's again lots of art, lots of books. There's kind of this small drinks cabinet from which he begins pouring like glasses of this steaming mulled wine and kind of handing them out to all of you.
No, thank you, Elishan says, with like a slight blush.
How pregnant is Elishan?
About 4 months at
She's
this
got a
point.
bump.
She's got a bump.
Horatio like doesn't seem at all abashed, takes it in his stride. Oh, of course, my apologies. Congratulations, I believe, are in order too. Kind of gives you a nod and claps Arthas on the shoulder.
Thank you. It's our first. We're very happy about it.
Yeah, very happy. Arthas kind of gives him a bracing nod, and Horatio kind of chuckles and gives Arthas a bit of a wink.
Is Arthas and like is he like squeezed into like formal wear?
So yeah, Arthas has I believe has had purchased for him in the past kind of more traditional Algiran
People
wear
clothes.
and also Tython wear, so it's probably somewhere in between. He looks...
He's not wearing like dirt and twigs.
No, I imagine Elishan would have made sure he was presentable in front of the Rutherfords.
Yeah, dress up.
Yeah, he's clean shaven, probably. Don't know if he's like what his hair situation is
Yeah,
or
his hair's
whatever,
been combed for
lengthwise.
the first time in like 25 years.
He's not like a wild, scraggly child or whatever,
No.
but yeah, he probably has like the
I mean, if
whole.
he was left to his own devices, he would be, but yeah.
He hasn't been though.
No.
So.
So he's been.
Yeah, he
he's
has
been,
not been.
He's had a makeover. And you see
He's an
like,
inside dog now.
yeah,
Yeah,
and you see like Vela
like Charlie
is
Hunnam post Sons of Anarchy.
yeah,
Right.
and you see Vela is she's wearing this sort of quite beautiful dress with like a removable kind of collar shawl type thing. She looks like slightly haughty if you didn't know her. It's just sort of a symptom of being a drow is that she kind of has this, she's got good posture and she has this sort of like high, jagged cheekbones and sort of like a slight purse to her lips. So she looks slightly haughty, though. Anyone who knows her knows that it couldn't be further from the truth. Willow's kind of shuffling about in the back, like I imagine kind of rolling her shoulders in the uncomfortable formal clothes, but just kind of sticking near Rose and trying to keep her head down. She's never really interacted with the sort of high society before, so she doesn't really know what she's doing, and I think she feels the best way to make sure she doesn't embarrass herself and her friends is that she keeps her mouth shut, for now at least. And you see, like, as you're all kind of standing about catching up, another man and a woman both walk in. The man looks like Byron if Byron spent more time outside. He's sort of like slightly taller, slightly broader shouldered, extremely tanned, but has the same like kind of frosty hair. He's got like a very kind of easy grin that sort of puts you in mind of old adventure heroes and that sort of thing, and these sort of piercing blue eyes of the Rutherfords. And the woman next to him is slightly younger, absolutely like stunning, wearing this beautiful kind of festive green dress. And they both have a glass of wine in their hands. And the man says, "Mother, when are they Oh!" And he sort of like does a little like reshuffle, obviously not realizing that guests were in the house until he saw you. And he kind of like straightens up a bit, fixes his jacket and walks over. Kind of grabs Byron in a very brotherly, slightly uncomfortable hug, like squeezing him a bit too tight around the shoulders. And kind of like poking him in the chest a bit with the glass, or with the hand holding the glass. He says, "Oh, Byron, great to see you again. Been some time."
It's more touching than he's had to endure in years.
Yeah.
And very good to see you too. Good to have us both back in the home. And he kind of like looks around.
The woman who came in with him kind of rolls her eyes and says, "Well, it's good to have you back at least, Byron." And the man kind of chuckles and shakes his head and turns to begin introducing himself to you. Turns to Rose and says, "Randolph Rutherford, pleasure to meet you." Holds out a hand for you to shake.
Rose will take it. Rose Bronze Hammer, it's a pleasure to meet you.
And you, of course. And then begins kind of moving around, and Florence sort of comes around to the rest of you and introduces herself as well. And there's sort of that brief awkwardness period where new people have been introduced to the group, and then once everyone's sort of acquainted and begins talking, things die down. And you see Horatio kind of drains his glass and puts it aside before pouring himself some mulled wine to sort of join in with everyone else. Says, "So, you were telling me what you've been up to, Byron."
Oh, yes. Well, he has a drink in hand, and he has and it kind of just lifts off as it gets picked up by his mage hand and floats somewhere just past his shoulder. I could start at the beginning, and he like swirls his hands, and basically like the room changes into a depiction of them going up to the keep on horseback, him like reading a book, and
Launches into the story.
yes. I don't know how far through he gets
Yeah, so
before the next interruption, but I
There's
imagine he
some-
might keep trying to tell the story sequentially over the night.
So there's some general mixing. You know, people get to know each other a little bit, and the sort of awkwardness dies down. And then the front door bursts open, and there's that sort of stereotypical like breeze of wind that comes in, and a man stumbles in, and he looks like the picture of the woman who came in with Randolph Florence, like very, very similar. You know, if she was a man, and he has very, very red cheeks, and is wearing a very nice suit, though the tie is slightly askew, and the coat is the collars have been turned up, and it's covered in snow. And he sort of stumbles slightly and says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to keep you all waiting," and sort of like stumbles over and kind of regains himself and fixes his tie a little bit. So it's good to see you again, little brother. And like, he kind of gives you the exact same hug as Randolph gave you, like that sort of arm around the neck, a little bit too tight.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little bit more advanced in his inebriation than the rest of you, but not to an antisocial level. He says, "Sorry, mother, sorry," as she's like brushing snow off his shoulders. He's like, "There was a charity mixer, and it got a little more exciting than I was anticipating, but I'm here now, you know. So be it."
Nice to have you, Oscar.
And you immediately like makes a beeline for the mulled wine. And as you're all kind of enjoying the warmth of the fire, which is like stoked by a couple of servants and an extra log or two are put on, you're all just able to sort of enjoy the quiet of the evening for a little while. The house has been decorated in that kind of typical artsy way where it's not too much. There's like an occasional sprig of holly here, or a bit of mistletoe like over in a corner, but it's not like, you know, tinsel everywhere. It's a bit more conservative than that. And then
We can say that Remy arrives whenever you're ready.
you took the words right out of my mouth.
There we go. There will be a forceful rap on the door.
And Hornsby kind of straightens his waistcoat and goes over and opens the door.
Hornsby, you old so-and-so. How the hell you doing?
Ah! Mr. Hoochmonger, a pleasure to see you. And Hornsby will kind of give him a bow, offer to take your coat, kind of direct you in towards the rest of the group.
So Remy's appearance has changed a little bit. First of all, he's wearing a very crisp, very fine naval uniform in sort of a navy blue with gold trim, brass buttons polished very brightly. His chestnut curls are now down past his chin, but tied back into a loose ponytail with a ribbon. He is sporting an eye patch over his right eye, and the nifty glove of stabbing on his left hand. He's got a sort of black cape that's thrown over one shoulder, and behind him is a humongous hand cart just packed with brown paper packages and something that looks like a greatsword and a bunch of crap. But he will come inside and bring this cart along. And you can see behind him the faint image of a door, spectral door beginning to disappear.
Yeah, and Hornsby will offer to like move the cart into another room until it's ready.
Remind me, Hornsby, what's the policy on smoking in the Rutherford estate?
You may smoke in the Rutherford estate, of course, but please not near any of the pieces. Keep it to the center of the room, if you would.
Ah, of course, of course.
And yeah, Hornsby will have some servants kind of move the cart out, and Horatio and Randolph will sort of give you a bit of a wave, and imagine the rest of you guys all have a reaction to seeing your old friend.
Yeah, Elishawn's gonna be up out of her chair and bending down to hug Remy as soon as he comes through the door.
Full-throated embrace is returned.
Yeah.
How are you, Al? It's good to see you. You look about ready
Good.
to pop.
Not quite a few months to go yet. she
I've
she
never seen a
does that
pregnant human being
self-conscious.
before.
She does it self-conscious belly rub, looking at Arthur. It's I'm not that big.
Halfling terms, I mean.
Oh yeah, definitely. It takes a bit longer. We're a bit bigger.
He'll kind of clap you on the hand and say,
It's good to see you, kiddo.
It's good to see you too.
Where's Wallace?
Where's who?
Rose will kind of saunter
Oh,
over.
Sorry, I thought you said Waldus. I was like, is this an NPC? that I don't
Same.
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's like, where's
"Where's
Waldus?
Yeah, I don't
Rose?"
It got a little weird there for a minute, but I think it was Rose.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.
She'll kind of saunter over and be like, "Yeah, don't mention anything like that. They're a little sensitive about that stuff. But
They're too sensitive
haven't-
in general.
you haven't gotten in too much trouble, have you?"
Oh, just the proper amount.
And when you get a little closer, you'll see that he's got a very nice holy symbol of Lathander dangling from his neck. And he'll embrace you and say,
How you been?
Been pretty good. I'm trying to message you, but to no avail.
Yeah, it's only recently that I figured out that you can't talk to other planes, but I've been keeping an eye out on you guys. Seems like you're doing fine. Temple's doing well, it seems.
Yep, we finished it a little bit ago, and the
Good.
dedication and everything.
Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Is the eye patch for show, or did you earn that one?
he kind of looks like he's about to go into something. Is
There's a story behind it. I'll get to that later.
All right. Well, they've got wine, so. And I was gonna try to pry a few embarrassing stories about Byron out of them.
Looking forward to
Good
that.
game for that.
We've probably got a few of our own. Speaking of Byron.
If not, we'll make them up.
So he you see him. I think he's talking to Florence avidly about something, and he sort of turns, so he's near the back of the room as you go weave way through all of the friends and people assembled. And when you see him, there is a very genuine smile comes across him.
How are you,
How are-
Alex?
Rather good this evening, surrounded by friends and family.
Good.
Glad you could make it.
Wouldn't have missed it for the multiverse.
Yes, I think we might have to speak about that at some point.
Yeah, actually, when you can pull yourself away, there's something I want to talk to you about, but take your time.
and he'll pull out a cigar from his pocket and light it up.
As long as you aren't going anywhere in the short term.
Couldn't prime you away.
Excellent. And he kind of there is a linger, and he just kind of smiles, and then turns back to chatting with with his family.
He'll go over to Ellen Rose and hang with them again. He'll go to Arthas and say,
How you doing, dog boy? Look cleaned up. Well groomed.
So do you. And he'll kind of give you a sort of friendly kind of punch on the shoulder that makes you stumble a little bit.
He'll kind of brush himself off and shrug and say,
Well, you can't polish a turd too well.
And he kind
But
of
we do our best, don't we?
Well, Elle certainly does. And he kind of like gives you a sort of like affectionate shoulder squeeze and says, "Good to see you again, though.
You too.
Even if you are a kid." And then we'll just like turn away and go ensure.
That's your monarch you're making fun of, pal.
Yeah, and he'll turn away and go ensure that Elle knows that she's beautiful.
Oh.
From the last comment. And you see there's two more people who kind of come in and join a bit more quietly. Two women. Both look a little younger than Byron by a couple of years. One of them is clearly a Rutherford with the pale hair and eyes. And the other one has a sort of slightly auburn curls. Both are very beautiful, especially the Rutherford. And she comes over and sort of gives Byron a quiet hug and smiles and says, "Hello, you."
He embraces her like much more
Yeah.
softly, much more relaxed than everyone like grappling at him previously. Oh, it is good to see you, Oh.
"And you, Byron?" And she'll sort of turn and kind of indicate the woman with her and says, "I don't think you've met Laev yet, have you?"
I haven't had the pleasure. And he like extends his hand to hold hers.
And yeah, she'll take it and give you like a very big grin and a bit of a blush. And the more kind of perceptive of you around the room might notice that she seems a little giddy to be speaking to the Byron Rutherford. And she says, "It's a
Can I get her name in
pleasure."
the chat, please?
Yes.
Is she human? Do you say
Yeah,
brown
she's human.
curls? Yeah,
Auburn curls.
auburn curls.
And yeah,
He would
being a
do the same and reach for Vela, wherever she is. And I'm not sure you've had the pleasure of my partner either.
And Vale will kind of give them both like a kind of duck her head a bit, and give them shake both their hands. Like she's still a little uncomfortable around other people. She's much better than she was, but it's still a point of nerves for her a little bit. And she speaks very quietly to them. But she seems kind of drawn to these two a little bit more because they seem a bit more quiet than don't have that sort of Rutherford force of personality that only you and Ophelia lack as much as the others, who are all like rosy cheeks, brandished arms, telling stories and engaging your fantastic hosts, kind of magnetic personalities. And Beatrix will sort of just gently kind of raise her voice and just say, "Well, I think we have enough. I think everyone is here now. So before we have a lovely meal, I think it is time we open our presents." She kind of gives a bit of a grin and says, "So if you'll all follow me through to the dining room, we can begin." And she kind of like puts her arm out for Horatio and they walk through. Lead you all into this massive kind of open room. And the table is set for hundreds, it looks like, but it's a couple dozen people. And there's sort of a more open space off to one side, and there's very, very traditional ice rain decorations with basically a large kind of wreath over the curtained windows on the inside, and there's like these kind of small little glowing moats kind of hanging around it, and you see there's 2 trees, like very large kind of pine trees, that have been beautifully but conservatively decorated, and kind of under each of them is a small pile of presents, and they sort of lead in and say, well, seeing as there's so many of us, and as you kind of look around, you see like more people joining. There's a few like significant others and a couple kids with bright blonde Rutherford hair, and they sort of all like gather around, and she says, well, there's so many of us, might be best to do it, I suppose, systematically. She kind of chuckles and sips of wine. So does anyone in particular want to give out their gifts? I know I have some, and she kind of begins like handing out her presents to the family, the kind of extra family, not you guys yet, and like a few other people sort of start handing out gifts, and I think this is where, if you guys have presents for each other, now will be the time. So who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Oh boy.
Woo!
Yeah, Elishan will kind of start with like, handing out like a few of like the little small things to like the little Rutherford kids. They're just like little toy baubles or whatever, because like she got like a complete list of everyone who was going to be in attendance. So she's like small little things that she just wants to like make everyone get something for everyone, and then she's going to play a little bit later for their hosts. But in regards to you all, the first gift she'll give will be one for Rose, and she'll turn to her friend and say, I'm afraid the main bit that Arthas and I got for you isn't exactly here to unwrap. So just have like this small little token, and she like hands you like a small little box. But the main thing is that that spot on the hill just outside the keep that you sometimes go to watch the sunrise. Arthas carved a wooden bench there for you to use whenever you need to bathe in the dawn. And she conjures up a small illusion in her hand that shows a sturdy looking bench, the feet looking like curling tree roots, and the backside of the bench is a stylized sunburst that kind of like uses the knots of the wood and the natural wood patterns to simulate the sun's rays. And then so I thought you might like to have a nice spot to sit. And then the small box is carved out of the same wooden wood as a small stone charm, stone rose that's in the center of curled willow branches. It's been made of like anaran, and it's carved so thinly in places that it's like almost translucent in places on like the petals and stuff.
Well, they're both magnificent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then like she'll like giddily like give you like a great big hug. And
I'll
then
embrace her.
For Remy, she gets out a very large garment box. And after unwrapping it and everything, there's a luscious crimson velvet and ermine robe. It is a kingly looking thing that sweeps down to the floor, the ermine detailing on the hem and collar, all nice, warm, and poofy. Looks very, very regal, the sort of thing that a king would wear for like a portrait or one of those other courtly functions. But Elishan has made sure that it will last for what Remy will probably use it for, which is bathing. And it has an interior closure so that he can wander about in it without showing everyone his subjects inadvertently. And on top of the rose is a platinum flask that has been engraved with more Anaran, which is that glowing stone that the Chorids
Mm-hmm.
got us, and it says first of his name, and has like the seal of his first of his name, and then there's a great big seal of Frosthaven. Is underneath it says His Royal Majesty Captain Remington Hoochmonger, Savior of Neath, King of Frosthaven, and then very small letters like on the base where you can only see it if you're like drinking from it. It says
Mm-hmm.
number one, Dad.
That's wonderful. He gets a little bit of a, a teary kind of misty eye look, and he says,
Thank you, Al. I'll treasure it always.
and he puts it inside his pocket.
Duel.
He probably clumsily tries to pour the stuff that's already in his other flask into this flask.
Oh. Is it clumsy because he is like shaking, or is it just
Oh no! I mean, it's just difficult
It's
to pour
real hard
stuff
to
from
pour
a
stuff
flask.
into.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'll make a dex check and roll an 11, which he gets it in there, but not well.
You get 11 out of 20 parts of the liquid in there.
Whatever you do, you notice that like the liquid that rolls off, that spills off the side, is like kind of cool. So it's like been
Okay.
like enchanted a little bit to.
It's good that it's not like
temperature cool.
that's awesome. It's good that it's not a flask of holding for a reason
No.
they'll explain later.
Because I figure, well, I wouldn't like give a hoochmonger something that's going to have never-ending hooch in it, because he's going to want to make his own stuff.
Exactly.
But it's something nice to put it in.
Flask of cooling.
Yeah. And then for Byron, it's another large box and extremely heavy, but it's got a thick wooden game board made out several different types of stained woods. And there are pieces of it that kind of shift and move like puzzle pieces. And there's multicolored gemstone tokens and metal coins. And he would immediately recognize it as a replica of Croak's Squares, which is the game that Kevlar and the Raven played endlessly in Kevlar. Yeah, we're playing endlessly in the forest outside of Orathil. And like after he opens it up, like Elisha will say like, so for your gift, I availed myself to the research of one of our students, a young archivist. For his Triest, chose to spend close to a year studying this game, and so that we could actually have rules. And you're now the proud owner of the second ever set of Croak Squares. And like Elishon's like super proud of it. And there's another small little package that's a platinum chain for one of Byron's waistcoats that has like a little medallion hanging from it that has like the Halls of Marin crest that's inlaid in a disc of platinum and obsidian with Anaran embedded in it to form the leaves. And just as a little side note or whatever, all of the Anaran pieces tokens have been enchanted with the effects of Bari's White Circle. So like that nice little spell that Elishon had. So you guys now have a permanent +1 charm for your AC.
Ooh.
Because Rob is very generous.
All of us do?
Yes.
Oh,
So your
sweet.
flask has the enchantment on it. Byron's chain has the enchantment on it, and Rose's rose has the enchantment on it.
+1 AC, you said?
Yeah.
Duel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brings it to a 25.
Jesus fuck.
Wow. Okay. I like hit the heady heights of what, like 13? Up boost to 16? So he looks down at the table and like with a twist of his wrist, like pieces rise up and they're kind of like dancing in between you and him as he like looks at them and looks at you and goes, when we're done setting up several halls and cities, and they're like, perhaps we can block off, 3 or 4 years and have a game. We
Sure.
both,
Yeah.
we both have the time. He
Mhm.
says, obviously, like we're pretty hard pressed at the minute, but
Mm.
Astral plane is the perfect place for time wasting.
I imagine you would be the expert.
You betcha.
Then Elishan's last present will be like a small little thing for Arthas, and it's simple and like another little small box, but inside is a leather thong necklace with another Anaran pendant stylized after one of Morwen's primaries. It's a fancier version of what she gave him for their first ice rain, but this one is a little different. The usual blue glow of the Anaran has been altered slightly. It pulses with a faint golden glow with a magic that Arthas is familiar with. For in his pockets is a similar trinket for his mother Layla. It's an air stone, Elishan's air stone.
Oh.
And she kind of gives it to him and says, after he opens it, that it's like, you already had my heart, so figured it'd be safe enough in your hands.
And he sort of like closes his eyes and pulls you in for a hug and a kiss. And you can see him like Rose, you see him like as his head like heads over his shoulder, he like wipes his eyes a little bit, and he just says, "Thanks, Elshan. That's a pretty fucking fantastic gift. Mine's not as good as that."
Well, considering that you gave me your airstone whenever, like, the first day we met, I think you were due.
Yeah, I suppose. And he kind of like scratches his head.
I gave my love an air stone.
Damn, Remy, that's sweet baritone you got there. Is that
I
your...
gave.
oh no.
Please don't finish that.
It's already in canon that Remy sounds like Tom Waits whenever
that-
his singing voice.
So Arthas will quickly hand you his gift then. It's like a small square wooden box. And it's kind of got like a nice weight to it, and you open it, and inside you see a glass orb. And you kind of lift it out, and you can see the bottom is flattened slightly, so you can like stand it somewhere. And inside, you can see that it's currently snowing. And when you look close, you see it's kind of this cliff face, with the top of the cliff visible. And if you really look hard, you can see two small figures on the top of the cliff. One of them's wearing furs, and one of them is like clad in purple blue, and they're kind of lying on the cliff, kind of holding each other and kissing occasionally, but they're moving, and just sort of existing, little mini versions of you and him. And he kind of shrugs awkwardly and blushes and says, "It's where you first told me you love me." And he sort of like shifts awkwardly and doesn't look at Remy. Like,
Oh, I love it. She's gonna like, do that big old like head neck hug
yeah.
thing and just like squeeze them and then like, how did you get them to move? Like she's like seriously like enthralled
Yeah.
with like, the
So as you're hugging him, you don't notice this, but Rose looks over at you, gives you a wink, and mouths a thank you, and then pull away. And he's like beaming, like very relieved that you like it. And he's like, "Well, that's us. Who's next, I guess?"
I got a lot to get through, so I'm gonna request to go last.
I assume that Dan was gonna want to go last, which is
Oh,
why
really?
I'm like,
Okay.
I'll just go first. I'll just go
Byron
first.
would like hold up like just you can go last, but one present, and he just kind of like looks at Remy. And like
All right.
is it okay? Okay, you can like do all of yours, but he has one present right at the very end.
Oh, to
that
say
he
in
wants
his.
to do.
Oh, that's of course.
But he can do his others now. He will go find his present document.
He defo has a spreadsheet. Like
Or
Byron.
illusionary
comes up.
spreadsheet.
I mean
like
Byron,
illusion.
not Dan.
Yeah. I will. First of all, he's going to go around his family just real quickly. So we haven't done what we've been up to in the year, but those of you who were there will know that he managed to, I don't know, get the honor of having Marin, like fruit, that he could turn into saplings. And so one of them grows on the hold of Marin, at least one. But he produces it. So he didn't teleport with all of his presents, and some of them are larger than a bag of holding will allow. So actually, he's going to like open the back door, French windows type thing, and he'll walk across the room, and people probably follow him with his eyes, and he'll like open these probably a big rustic candles on or something. Open
Yeah.
it and my presents are quite numerous and also sometimes quite large. And he will like beckon up to the sky, and the sky will ripple, and the grey fly is just hovering above the garden. And it's so in the downtime he has implied a lot of like major image illusions and things upon this, so it can move more stealthily than it did before. But now they change as in front of your eyes to like a light show. It just all of these colors swirling on the like if you've ever seen like a light show onto like water, it's like that, like ripples of this light onto the bottom of the ship. He lifts down from the ship a marin tree, like a little bonsai size kind of marin tree, a sapling that he gives to his father, collector of luxurious and precious things, and says to him that this is perhaps the rarest tree I have ever come across, and it deserved enough of our respect that I named my halls after it. Apart from the druids of the forest, the Olfanger, and myself, you are now the only other owner or guardian, custodian of this otherworldly tree.
You see his eyes go wide, and he's kind of like a little bit forward. And he says, "Byron, that is wow!" And he's like admiring. Thank you. That is a fantastic gift. And you see he's wearing like a new kind of knitted scarf that someone else has got him. And yeah, he's kind of enthralled by your gift at this point.
He will. So he will again like lift down magically, possibly with like a Bigby's hand used for presents. He will. It's for Beatrix. It's like basically like a theater lighting rig, but it's all crystals, and they all project like different illusions and different lights to apply to the Virus Theatre Royal under her discretion. And he brings it down this is for you. I know the magic that you create is just as powerful as mine. I only wanted to augment it.
She
Never
sort of
diminish.
she like blinks a little, like looking at the signs, pulls you into a very tight hug, just kind of like murmurs against your shoulder, like, "Thank you so much. That's very thoughtful."
It, like if he sees her looking at it, it, it should be very easy to put up. I just need a little. And as he says little, like you see his hand, like he just like his thumb and like forefinger come together, and he just casts a large reduce, and the thing just shrinks. Well, stay like that as long if I'm not around, but should get it up there. He's kind of just stumbling.
Yeah.
As she hugs him.
And Randolph kind of chuckles and says, "I hope mine's as big as that."
I'm afraid quite the opposite. And he lifts down two, a matching pair, and he like beckons Randolph and his significant other partner over, and gets them to present both their hands, and may you never be lost again. And he puts amulets of like effectively like word of recall that
Yeah.
Rose possibly had a hand in. So it's not full on teleport where he may get lost all over the place. It's just it brings them back together, like they are the anchor points for each other.
It's an air stone without them giving up bits of their soul.
Sure.
I mean,
And Rose probably did have a hand in that. So
Rose demands a price.
you have a present coming, or
I'm
is there
kidding.
something else? So
Talking
yeah,
about making the stones their price is a bit of their soul.
Lathander demands a heavy tax.
He does.
In campaign 3, someone's going to play a warlock who's got a pact with Rose.
I was planning on playing a warlock.
All I got was this goddamn amulet. I've got no magic.
So
And,
yes, anchor points to each other.
Randolph gives you a boisterous hug, and his wife kind of gives you a hug and a kiss on the cheek and murmured thank you. A little bit stunned again.
Yeah. He sort of like looks her in the eyes and like unspoken. Neither of us want this to happen again, type thing. He then, Florence, you were hard to pick, hard to choose for. I don't know what I could have done, but hopefully this is enough. And lifts out and it unfurls as it like comes over the edge of the deck, and it's like a radiant multicolored dress that's just covered in precious tiny stones that are all like from the corrids. So like if in the light of the room, like they just sparkles, like a rainbow or something, you know.
It's like a chandelier.
Yeah, kind of.
And yeah, she'll kind of hold it up to herself and then pull you into a hug. Again, thanking you. And Byron's sort of holding court at this point, like all the other presents have stopped with the appearance of a magic flying ship.
Then to Oscar at the back, he's gonna float over. It's like a full set of clothes, like a full suit. This suit can be whatever you wish it to be. It is glamoured. And it also has something to straighten you out, straighten them up afterwards. And has like an inbuilt prestidigitation thing
Nice.
where he can just clean it, straighten it, and change styles as he wishes.
That's dope. Yeah.
I imagine he's over by the bar and it goes floating over. And then to Ophelia, and he kind of beckons her and her partner over, whatever name that was, KF, something like that.
Laev.
Laev.
KFC.
And he places 2 stones, like carved and set within their palms. These are messaging stones, so you may never be apart. And if you twist this and he kind of like leans in to Ophelia and is like, if you twist this just here, you can talk to me. Just like whispers that.
And yeah, she like beams at her and at you and kind of pulls you into a tight hug and murmurs her thank yous quietly.
He'll hug her back. Now for the largest gift. And either that we've got like a whole space that it can empty out of from the top, or he's installed something where it can come out like the side or something. But he appears seemingly from nowhere, like a smaller handheld version of the control rods, and goes, Remy, I have a gift for you.
Kind of claps his hands together and rubs them.
What do you got?
Perhaps that's that which I'm most proud to share between old friends. We say less of you than we once did, and there comes a time between the late hours of the evening and the early hours of the morning that I miss the sound of feet approaching my door, of a friend framed by candlelight, and the satisfied grumblings as you settled into the cushioned seat beneath the window. Well, a captain needs his ship, a friend needs his seat. I've worked long and hard to unlock the secrets of the skyship, and that labor has bore fruit. I present to you the Remy, and he presses the control rod, and a smaller version of the ship floats out. And he like watches it and turns back to you. Rutherford's effortlessly mobile yacht.
Wait, so how big is this thing?
It's like carriage sized, but it's like like a single masted yacht kind of thing. It's not like it's the Greyfly is like a medium sized ship, I would have thought, or it's small, but this is
like a skiff.
Like a skiff. A personalized, roughly, carriage sized sky ship, complete with comfy chairs, and I believe a fair bit easier to steer. And it has like a steering wheel attached to the complicated, like a smaller version of the complicated magical array that he uses. So hopefully, it uses Dex to steer rather than int in some way. But it's like big enough for you and several other people, half a dozen.
Remy will sort of like throw his cape over his shoulder and walk around it, seemingly inspecting.
A fine work of shiply craftsmanship, Hux. And a worthy gift. You put me to shame. Thank you.
Not my intention, but I think it should fit through the portal.
I have ways of getting it home.
Good.
Thank you, friend.
My pleasure. And he'll like stretch out a hand.
Accepted.
Next. So I think like he like moves his hand and the ship kind of like returns or vanishes or something, moves out of the way.
What was the ship called again?
The Remy. It is Rutherford's effortlessly mobile yacht.
Right.
Remy. He's a level 20 wizard. He puts his name on things. You're about to become very apparent.
Effortlessly mobile yacht.
Yes, Rutherford's effortlessly mobile yacht.
Perfect.
The Remy.
Love it.
Arthas, what gift could I give you that you've not already given each other? Happiness, security, and then light beckons a hand. Life. All of this in the face of such adversity, and now triumph. Well, I give you my best attempt. He beckons. There is an even smaller little control rod like type mechanism, and a cradle floats down
No.
for a cradle for new life. And he kind of like looks to you for now in my colors of regal blue and shining gold, enchanted to float. And he brandishes the miniaturized control rod. And within, as it like comes down to him, a mobile projected illusion, depicting the sweetest moments of the child's loved ones to come. And he like twists, and like this little gem pops out of like the hood. A holographic picture book of Elishan, Arthas, Remy, Rose, Vela, Willow, and our many friends and family, each witnessed by myself as a record. And he like pauses and puts his hand on the pram. They will see you as I do, and they shall know happiness. And he kind of like steadies himself for a moment. I've named it Rutherford's Revolving Reminiscer, or Recollections. It also comes with a second setting of shapes and colors of the arcane and beyond. And finally, security. It holds a shielding spell to keep that which is precious safe.
No, Bard, I thought I told you not to like make me cry anymore. I just got over it. But she like, runs up and gives you like, a hug, and because it kind of dissolves into those like Elishon like mumbles that are like, hormone induced, and she's just into your epaulette for a little while.
Prestidigitate that away in a minute.
He glides the little projector thing over to Arthas, and it's just kind of shining image after image, and there's like, they're all like from his perspective or something, like Elishan like turning around to look at him, like while they're walking down a corridor or something, or just image after image.
Arthur's puts like a hand on your shoulder, and you can tell he's a little bit lost for words, and he just says, thank you, thanks, Byron, thanks. And he's like trying not to like put the emotion in his voice, he's trying not to make it sound like he's about to cry.
So I imagine him and Elle embrace for a bit in front of everybody, until
Get a room.
she can be reconciled.
What was the acronym again?
It's Rutherford's Revolving Reminiscer or Recollector. Yes.
There in the cave of
It's the noise Arthas makes when he turns into a wolf.
And then to Rose and Willow, because there is little I could do to repay the debt the world owes you. I can only but celebrate you, and believe some of us may not be able to take another Byronic gift without at least a moment's respite. Working with the Oldfanger druids and Krith and my own magics, I have crafted a sapling, a willow tree that blooms trails of beautiful roses of gradually changing color. I gift you the rose willow, and he like lifts it, like it comes down and it sits in his palm, and it's again like a bonsai tree, or if you prefer, Rutherford's rose willow. Um,
Of course.
New life to represent your flourishing romance. There's a grove of them found along the hidden trails of the old Fanger, and they're ready to be moved wherever you wish.
You know the exact spot to put them.
Excellent. And a like hands it over as you come up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Willow gives you like a very brief, but sort of emotional hug and like a tight squeeze.
That's me done for the moment. And he kind of like gives Vela a look. There will be one gift later.
Remy will clap him on the back and say,
Hit the nail on the head, Hux.
I
As
try.
always. The Elishon's just like rocking the little Baby Yoda pram.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't my original inspiration, and then it just kind of became that. So
Well, I
Just
guess
like
that.
oohing and oohing and awing over like one of like the images that come up of like the last ice rain, like
Mhm.
Elishon and Arthas dancing.
There are tons. It's our greatest hits.
Oh God, who put those horrible images of Evelyn in there?
Safe for children, I guess.
They need to know our history.
I'm sure that I was thinking of like exploding kittens as an unsafe for work version, like with different images on of chaos planes and things like that. But those are mine for now.
Suppose that leaves just Remy and I.
After you.
Always the gentleman. All right. So for Arthas and Vela, Rose will just give the charms that Rose gave the first ice rain, the dwarven traveler protecting charms. Just kind of as a kind of like a recognition of their place in Rose's eyes and her family. And then Rose will approach Remy and kind of tap the holy symbol on his chest and
kind
say,
of stands up straight and has a lot of pride in his face.
glad to see you're keeping the tenets of your faith.
Always. Trying to keep my soul from getting gobbled up by some kind of space bug.
Looks good on you. But I have, and then she'll present a small box, and I presume you open it,
Oh, yeah.
and inside is like a runic kind of compass. This is a dwarven compass given to our great travelers and adventurers. It's a sign that's always meant to help you find your way home. I know that you're traveling and doing everything, but I want you to have this as a reminder that Frosthaven will always be your home.
Is it something that's like fits in the pocket?
Yep.
Yeah. He'll kind of look it over and see that it finds north and clap it closed and say,
It'll always be by my heart.
and he'll stick it in his breast pocket.
And it's just kind of pull you in for a quick hug.
I hope to not be too long away again.
You need to be here in the spring.
Absolutely. Your nuptials, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't
glad
miss it
you
for the
found
world.
Thank you.
Claps her on the shoulders.
Byron. I thought long and hard what to get you. You're a man of many talents, but I thought that I would honor you in the only with something truly unique and just for you. And she'll present a small, like a flat kind of box that's probably about maybe 8 inches long, maybe a couple inches high, a few inches wide. It's just in. Said, "This is for you." And as you open it up, there will be 3 wax seals. I know how much you love your order and your paperwork, and each one of the wax seals is a stamp for one is has the official seal of the halls of Marin. The other has the official seal of Frosthaven. If we don't have one officially, she would have made one.
We definitely have one.
Presumably, it has a bust of Remy on it.
I'm sure it does.
I kind of imagine whenever I picture the Frosthaven seal, because like we made a point of like bringing in all of like the different peoples and stuff. It's like one of like those split crests, like with the cross, and like each segment is represents a different aspect of the original 4 lords of the keep or whatever, because it was like the 4 of us and Arden. So like
We don't talk about him.
And the third one will just be kind of a stylized R. And Rose will kind of pick it up and be like, since you're so fond of putting your brand on everything, I imagine this one will probably get the most use. And she'll kind of place it back in the box.
I have the paperwork just for this, actually.
I know it's sitting on your desk. And I didn't tell Crean to burn any of it while we were away.
That's who's missing. Where's Crean?
I was going to say, is he not here? We had the teleport slots for him if he wants to be.
He's here, but I mean,
Okay, sure. Yes, no problem.
He's just kind of
Crean
like
is here.
chilling. I mean, I imagine she wouldn't necessarily travel without him.
Okay.
Yeah. That's like half of your class is playing Crean.
Oh, he's yeah.
Crean
She's
is
a
your
cream
familiar.
master.
In that case, then, at the mention of his name, you see his little head pop up, and he kind of glances around, and you see like 2 very harassed-looking like kitchen staff, kind of like poking their heads through, and they're like running their hands through their hair, like very confused. And you see like Crean kind of waddles over, and he's wearing his very fine, kind of regal-looking armor. And he's carrying a whole plate of like pigs in blankets, and half of them are gone. And he just kind of lets out like a little like squawk of excitement and like drops the tray and scampers over and like tackles Remy in a big hug.
Yeah. we'll wrestle. Full
Yeah, 100%. Now he's in like full plate. Like
yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, I imagine like Byron gives a vague flick of his hand and it's dealt with, but
I kind of want to mute him shouting shit heel because I think I know it's coming. So like it's just like beep heel.
Yeah, and Crean's just like squeaking like Webby.
I missed you, buddy. Come keep me company.
I probably like raise like if you're wrestling, I raise like a little playpen around you.
And then like I imagine there's like a moment where like Rose is giving Crean the calm down survive, and his like Remy's fist is in his mouth and he's like gnawing on it, and there's one eye like looking over at Rose a little bit guiltily.
I want to say, like, if there are any toddlers in the room, they're immediately doing that exact same thing. Like
Everyone's fighting.
like the kids see like Remy and the kobold and like and then now there's just like children wrestling.
I imagine
floor
the
and,
first
like,
moment
momming.
was like they all run over and Crean like hisses like, and then he realizes it's okay, and they all just immediately start wrestling.
So Crean's a cat now.
Crean's a lizard cat.
That's
He kind of
fantastic.
always has. He's got some cat-like qualities.
Now Remy's at the bottom of a pile of children.
But yeah, Kreen is like entertaining all the kids by just running away from them, I imagine. Like clang, 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 clang. And then it's like in a different room, and then it's clang, 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 clang as he comes back.
And Rose will kind of approach Elishan and be like, "All right, my friend.
Are you gonna make me cry too?
No,
You promise?
no, I promise." She will kind of give you a small box. And as you open it, she'll be like, "One of my visions as I dedicated the Temple of Lathander was a place where all faiths are welcome and work together for the goodness of Frosthaven. And I know that you have been working tirelessly towards that end. And I just wanted to make sure that you had a proper symbol for your goddess. And your gift is an incredibly beautiful and intricately carved and gem encrusted symbol, holy symbol of Arame.
Aw.
I hope that in the future our faiths can work together for the good of Frosthaven and all of Lament.
I can't think of a better place to be than by Lathander's side and yours. And she's gonna kind of like pull the holy symbol up to her chest, so like, thank you so much, and give you a big hug.
And don't worry, I have the perfect babysitter in mind when the little one arrives.
Oh,
Absolutely, Kreen's been very excited.
oh,
Won't eat the baby or nothing, I bet.
I mean, we've been training. I have a small doll, and it's.
Covered in tooth marks, I bet.
I mean, at first, yes. I mean, it took some time to get to that point, but he hardly gnaws on the legs anymore.
well, yeah,
You like,
know,
look over
it's
and you
like-
see, you look over and you see like everywhere Kreen's going, there is a doll, but he's holding it by the hand and like dragging it along beside him. So it's like
It's just
absolutely
filthy.
yeah.
Elishan kind of like covers like her mouth with like her hand and is just kind of like, well, it's our first, so I don't imagine.
Relax. Willow and
I'm
I
sure-
would be more than happy to.
I'm sure Layla's gonna want to spend lots of time.
No, it's okay. Relax.
Speaking of which, how is Leia?
I kind of do some eyebrow wiggles at Arthas.
She's fine. She's well, she's seeing someone, I think, but it's none of my concern or yours. So that's a very
She's
nice
a whole
gift,
lot
Rose.
of druid, that
Thank
woman.
you very much. I very much appreciate it. And imagine he like gives Remy like a nudge with his hip, sort of like makes him stumble a bit again.
And Elishan just goes, "She is? I don't think so." And she like, look.
No, I don't. I
Vela,
don't think
did you have a gift to give? And Vela kind of like jumps at the mention of her name. And she kind of like ducks her head a little bit, scratches her forehead, and says, "Well, I got one for Byron." And she like kind of goes into the other room, comes back with a very nicely wrapped box, and she's carrying it very carefully. She hands it over. And as you unwrap it, Byron, you open it and you see inside is a very, very nice teapot with 2 mugs, like a little tea set. And it's made out of this sort of marbling, kind of dark and light marbled wood, or marbled stone. And it's all like glazed very nicely. And you see like engraved in the top are just the words like "my heart forever," but around the curling around the kind of top of the lid, and she just
Beating
says,
heart.
and she just says, "For when you finally get a chance to relax."
He looks at the cups and then holds her, cradles her hands and goes, "I will make the time."
And she just beams at you and gives you like a kiss on the cheek. And speaking of NPC gifts, then before we go into Remy's, Willow will turn to Rose and say, "Well, mine's not as flashy and emotional as everyone else's, but I hope you like it." She hands you like a small package, and it's soft, and you open it, and it's a pair of gloves. They're like thick, kind of training gloves. Basically, not you wouldn't wear them in battle, but they protect your hands when you're practicing and sparring. And they've got some warmth to them as well to let your hands not go numb. Basically for when you're training with Green or training, other clerics and that sort of thing. And they've got just like on the back of the palm is like a small circle with a willow tree on it, in leather. And they're really, really nice gloves. And they've got sort of like kind of tartan on the inside, and then like fur around the edges.
They're perfect, and Rose will give her a kiss on the cheek.
Thanks.
And your gift as well. And Rose will just give her a box, and it's a pendant. It's the dwarven rune for home. Just to remind you of who you really are to me.
Will like goes to say something, opens her mouth and then closes it again, and you can see she just doesn't want to like choke out the words, and she just pulls you into a very tight hug.
All right, my turn.
Claps his hands. He's gonna shuffle over to his cart, and
Hornsby's like brought it back in.
Good.
Good man, Hornsby.
And he's gonna take from the top a circular bamboo carrying case, and I imagine there's not a whole lot of sugar or coconuts in Lament.
No, not in Lament.
So these are coconut candies from Coconut Island, made and baked by a very special lady. And these are for all to share. And he's going to open it up, and there's probably about 50 of the probably like 4 quarters worth each.
Yeah.
In diameter, these little like coconut ball sugar candies.
Awesome.
And he'll pass those around to the table. And then he'll say, "Hey, Arthas, use those big strong arms and grab this one for me." And there's a giant rectangle, probably about 4 by 8 feet, wrapped in brown paper. And presuming Arthas, pulls it up and sets it up, he says,
"This one's for our hosts. For the Rutherford family at large, I hope it's something that will grace your home for generations to come."
And he's going to pull the wrapping down, or let them do it. And it's a enormous painting that is basically a depiction of the astral sea and the sparkling silver body of a dead god orbiting a star. But the whole thing moves and rotates and shifts, and the scene is constantly changing. The ships drifting by slowly and things like that. And
I bought this on Sigil. A guy who sold it to me told me it was priceless, but that didn't stop him from charging. And it's called God Rise on the Astral Sea. One of a kind, as far as I know.
And
they're very like appreciative. Like everyone's kind of inspecting it, and Horatio gives you like a big clap on the shoulder and lots of thank yous. And they're all quite jolly at this point. So they're a bit less like quiet, emotional, and more like fantastic gift, Remy. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, my pleasure.
Then he's gonna take two small, pretty decently sized chests off of the crate, and he's gonna hand one to Elishan and one to Rose, and say,
These are not your gifts. These are just considered a annual stipend. Donations for the temple.
and inside is, or your temples, inside is 1,000 platinum pieces each. And if you examine them, they're minted with the face of the Lady of Pain, who you may or may not recognize. So you know they're minted in sigil.
Value should be more or less equivalent, though.
And then he'll go over to the cart again and grab actually, he's not gonna grab anything yet. He'll go over to Rose and get close and like kind of put his hand on top of her hands and say,
For the woman who saved my life and saved my soul, I don't think anything could repay you. But hopefully booze will do.
and he'll go over to the cart and he'll take off a crate of moonshine and say,
This is Hoochmonger Starshine. It's got a very special secret ingredient, only found on the astral plane. I highly recommend that you do not drink a whole bottle all at once, or you may or may not be transported to the astral plane for all time. But really good in small doses.
Thank you for the warning and for the gift.
Drink it in good health.
Yeah.
And don't put it inside a bag of holding, or you might open a plane. Or open a hole in reality.
Oh, whoa. Oh, Remy.
And for you, Willow,
and he goes and takes another little piece of parchment wrapped thing.
this is another one stitched by hand by my extraplanar paramour, Tiffany.
And if she opens it up, it's going to be like a shirt, like a gambazon of the kind worn underneath armor. It's a very fine quality. It's clearly expert stitching and really nice fabric, but embroidered along the front in like really lovely cursive is King Remy bloodied my nose, and all I got was this undershirt.
Just to remind you where we started.
And he'll clap her on the shoulder. Then he will walk over to the cart again and pull off what is easily, I guess no. Okay, so it's a great sword, but it's clearly like Remy or Kreen sized. So we'll call over Kreen.
This one's for you, Shihio.
And he'll pull it out of the scabbard, and it's a great sword made entirely out of silver.
Took this off the body of a Githyanki knight. Reforged it to be wieldable by someone of our stature. And had some magic worked into it that should keep it safe from prying eyes. They like to come after these when they're stolen, but they shouldn't be able to find it.
He like takes it with two hands, like kind of turns it in his hands, and then looks towards the kids he's just been wrestling with.
Let's
Puts over his shoulder.
keep that sheathed inside.
Yeah. And then he's sort of like Rose and Remy sort of like stop me.
Okay.
But that's a bonkers greatsword. It's +3, does 3d6 psychic damage, and gives an advantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saves.
What?
What the fuck, dude?
That's just what it says in the book.
What is it?
Githyanki Silver Greatsword. It's in Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes under the Githyanki entry.
Whoa.
And then he's going to go over and pull off a couple of boxes and walk over to Arthas and Elle and say,
A few months after I left the keep, I went home to the place I grew up and stayed there a few months with my sister and her boy. And while I was there, lightning struck a tree, an ash tree that my father and I planted over 150 years ago. I took the wood from that tree and brought it to one of the finest woodworkers in Sigil.
And he opens up one of the boxes, and it's got 4 action figures in it. They're basically fully posable versions of the 4 of us, with a minor enchantment on it, so that the paint is almost photorealistic. And it's got a little plaque on there that says "Heroes of Heroes of Frosthaven action figure set. And each one of them has their weapons that are in their hand and stuff like that.
For the kids and any future kids that come along, and some accessories.
And he'll open up another box, and it's got a model of the Greyfly in it, and a model of Silver. And he'll say, "Look!" And he'll take the Remy figure and put it on the back of the Silver, and, fly it around a little bit. And then he'll take one more box out,
And he says, "This one's for you, El."
and inside is a violin. But he explains to you,
This is not some froofy elven violin. This here's a fiddle, in the halfling style, but made for your fingers. Only happy songs get played on this one.
No. Elishan, just kind of smiles and nods and is like, be happy to know that my music is much happier nowadays.
Glad to hear it.
he'll give her a little kiss on the cheek.
Oh.
And all of this, except for the violin or the fiddle, has been enchanted to, make it child-proof. So don't worry about chewing on it, things like that. But speaking of chewing on things,
And he'll go over to the cart and he'll grab a bone, easily the size of him, plus a little bit.
says, "Ripped this right out of the leg of a young red dragon, smoked it over a volcano on the plane of elemental fire, seasoned it with all kinds of herbs and spices. Chew it in good health, Fido."
And he'll give it to Arthas.
He takes it almost grudgingly.
There should be some good marrow in there.
Elishan just kind of pats his thigh. It's just like, it's okay.
Thank you.
I mean, I
Remy.
assume he likes chewing on things when he's a wolf.
Yeah.
Keep them chompers sharp.
Thank you, Remy. That's kind of you.
I mean, he meant it as a very sincere gift.
Yeah, it's
Oh, I
more
know,
just
I
calling him Fido.
Yeah. And let's see, working my way down
He
here.
He does look touched though.
Good. He's gonna go over and grab a couple of books off the cart, and he'll hand the first one over to Vela.
It says, "When I was on Sigil, where I have my home now, I met a very lovely gnome by the name of Volo from some place called Faerun, I don't know. But he told me a story about a drow that reminded me of you. And he wrote it all down in this book.
And it's the Tales of Drizzt Do'Urden by Volo Thank Gedarm.
And I've read it. It's one of my favorites, and I think you might like it too."
And finally, he will grab the last book, which is pretty big. And he says,
"This is a work all my own. And it's a first copy of the Multiversal Encyclopedia and Astronavigational Atlas, Volume 1.
and he'll hand it over to Byron. And on the cover it says, "Compiled and translated by Remy Hoochmonger, with contributions by Cathane the Wisher."
Wait, what?
And he'll give you a little wink.
We'll talk about it later. But this was one of the first raids we did, me and my crew, against a Githyanki Kresh on another material plane. This was one of the spoils. And I spent the last year or so working with my partner, translating it into our tongue, so you don't have to.
And if you open it up, Byron, it is written in really perfect, penmanship, and spelling and grammar are all completely accurate. There are entries for dozens of different planes of existence and how to get there through the astral plane, through various portals. And there's very detailed maps that are beautifully drawn.
And given the infinite nature of the astral plane, I intend to produce many more volumes, and you will get the first edition every time.
Well, when things have settled down at home, maybe I'll make some use of them.
We always have a spot for a pilot on my ship for you.
Oh, good. Does your current pilot fly as well as I do?
Nobody flies quite as well, but he's adept.
Good. Good. He sort of relaxes back into the big chair or something that he's sitting in, and gives you a smile, and then I think rolls rolls the palm over the pages of the book, and they just start to flicker, and he's just taking them in.
I mean, it's a lot of reading, but
Sure, no, I'm
even
not
for a
saying he's
speed
done in
reader.
5 minutes, but he's just going
Yeah.
to take a gander at
Yeah.
your hard work. Did
Well,
your
that's all she
partner?
wrote.
Is this your? Sorry, is this your penmanship?
Oh yeah, no, that's me. I find that the sword and the pen have some correlations in their wrist technique.
I'm very proud. This excellent work.
Well, I owe it all to you, buddy.
Well, some of it maybe, but you have a lot of talent.
Well, nobody gave me and my intelligence the time of day till I met you. But anyway, let's crack open about all that moonshine. What do you say?
Of course, as always.
Remy starts speaking in Japanese.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think after our gifts there, we'll take a quick 5 minutes before dinner. Or
Didn't Dan have one more?
I had a gift, but if we were going to dinner, this can be afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. You wanted yours towards the end, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Then we shall
I
do
was
that.
making sure. I didn't.
I never make mistakes,
Thank you, though.
so you shouldn't have assumed. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
I'm right back.
Only took us what, like an hour and a half to get through gifts?
Yeah, maybe more closer to 2 hours, but all right.
No, we didn't start. We didn't start until like 4.
Okay, whatever. All right, I'll be right
That was a
back.
minute.
I love my pretend gifts, you guys. Thank you.
Oh,
Warm feelings all around.
Duo.
hopefully you'll be able to make use of your small boarding vessel. Oh, and he's gone. Do-do-do-do. They so I've done a good job writing most things down. The Astronavapedia bit. You able to like copy the name of that?
I copied and pasted all the gifts into the Facebook
Right.
chat.
Okay, that was going to be my later request. Is that everyone do that so I can put it all down? But good. Because I basically summed it as Astronavapedia.
Yes, I labored a little bit, like thinking of what was the proper
Hmm.
term for what I was trying to say, but it's really two things. It's descriptions of planes, encyclopedia style, and maps and charts, atlas style.
Sure, that sounds everything a budding pilot would need.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's just because you reread the notes and I did, but you offering a drink to Byron and Byron saying always, I think is the last thing that we said in the campaign before it ended.
Callback.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to do when you're familiar enough with the characters and their rhythms. Remy
Sure.
punctuates every conversation with "Let's have a drink,"
Pretty much.
which is now Makud and Bryn's job.
It has been the torch has been passed, or
That's right.
the tankard.
Breakfast whiskey is the most important whiskey of the day.
That's right.
Sets you up for all the other whiskies.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just saying, I'm not sure if you heard about the last line of the
I
last
was,
campaign.
yes. I
Cool,
was.
yeah.
What?
Sorry, I was waiting for Jade.
I'm here.
Okay, sorry, you stop. But basically, as far as I remember, the last line of our other campaign was Remy offering us a drink, and Elishan saying yes, and Rose saying yes, and Byron saying always. And we just did that bit. Then
Aww.
reference.
That was a good gift giving session. I appreciated it.
Yeah.
I feel like we should do one of these once or twice a year if we can. It'd be kind of fun to play. You can't play epic levels in 5e apparently, but you can start doing epic boons and things like that. Which might be a fun thing to play with. A whole campaign might be kind of tough to do, but once in a while to do a one shot or something.
Yeah.
Sure. I think it would be nice to revisit old friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's been so good.
It didn't take me very long, but it took me some time to find the section in your notes to find out what the name of the game was.
Yeah, I bet. When you brought that up, I was like, "Oh, you've been digging."
That's a deep cut.
The main thing about that is I wanted him to turn to you and be like, "We've got time," because he has no fear of death now.
Has he already got his clone army in the basement?
He's already hit the level, so that is it's in development. That somewhere in the keep in a basement there is line upon line of clones and
Venture Brothers
things.
style clone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you watched that.
Of course.
It is Venture Bros is possibly, and I've watched a lot of TV shows. It's possibly my favorite.
It's a great one. Yeah, and it's been consistently good too.
Very much so. Even though the latest seasons are only 8 or 10 episodes long, they have been superb.
Yeah, I agree.
I have gone through the pain of having to wait and watching that show almost from the beginning and having to wait 3 years or something for the next season. Oh, pain I do not bear for any other TV series, but my God, Venture Bros is amazing. But yes, there is Venture Bros style cloning facilities somewhere with lots of Byrons. He probably has a few by now, but he is planning never to die.
Elishan's got at least another good century and change ahead of
Sure.
her. So
I mean, I said in the epilogue, I'm pretty sure that like he understands if you want to go when it's your time, but he has offered other people clones
mhm.
if they want it. So it's not for everyone, perhaps, but
It's a good thing Mina's not here. She'd get pissy about
No, I don't
Probably.
think so.
it. Just kidding.
like
Because it's not undeath.
Right.
true.
Like the body dies. And even with like a clone, like the spirit still has to be willing to go into the new body.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you're prolonging anyone past their desire. And I think the way she would feel like a clone or like a simulacrum would be like if your time is meant, then something will happen to the clone. Like
Right.
because like the clone has to be fully grown, and like if it's really your time, something's going to happen to you to fuck that up before the clone is ready. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were a lich with a phylactery, that'd be something
no good.
else. That's no good.
Yeah, I understand it's a bit weird, but he's level 20 wizard. I feel he's going for broke, really.
Yep.
You're not, I kind of relatively carefully. None of the Rutherfords are clerics or paladins or like that religious. I think of them quite secular. Although he obviously knows there are gods and there are miracles, he's always been more of a humanist. That like
Byron, you mean?
yeah, Byron. Like his entire family, they're all fantastically talented at what they do. And it's through no help of the gods. It's not to like besmirch them, but he's very much about what an individual can do, what a person can do, and
So
like
I
he's
feel
not
like
gonna
I feel
insult
like
the gods.
right. I feel like existing in a world where the gods demonstrably exist also sort of demystifies them, right? Like if you're there and I can talk to you, can you really be the god of everything? What about that other god who's the god of the exact same thing that you are? Like
And we
so it's
rescued one that was like dying,
right,
so they
exactly.
died just like us.
And she basically said like the gods are like I remember reading the scene. She's like gods are basically just like you except they've ascended, right? So it's not like divinity is the answer behind the great questions of reality, right? They're just higher beings.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. So I mean, they've been useful, and we've not really explored it, and I've thought about it sometimes. But like, if we've got Mistra as like the god of magic here, which I don't know, I did put that in when we were building those cities out, but like I don't know how beholden. Like he's not a cleric, like an arcane cleric or whatever. He's not, or a monk or anything. Like he's not beholden to any god. So they have their domains and they are useful, and we saved one. And he wouldn't insult them or besmirch them in any way, but he is just very much about himself. So he has no qualms about like living for forever.
Right.
Yeah. So like the caveat with a cleric based or wizard arcane or a divine based or arcane based like necromancy spell is that the soul has to be free. And if a god doesn't want you going back to life, you ain't going back to life, even if you're willing to go back and keep fighting. You know what I mean? But like a lich doesn't have to abide by those rules, and a vampire doesn't. Like undead doesn't have to, be free and willing. They just have to be, and so that's circumventing. Because like if a god decides, nah, your shit ain't gonna work, your shit ain't gonna work. Might not be like an earthquake in your clone army basement or something. Just the spell just won't take effect,
That's what the second basement is for.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And they do have an incredible power, and Byron probably like, I mean, he knows that, but he also probably underestimates it a little bit because you don't no mortal probably knows the vast extent of the powers of the gods. So,
But I mean,
what
like
we should have.
we did kill one, so not like we couldn't do it again.
Sure. They step out of line. The God hit squad.
Christmas special one shot number 3. We go kill the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future.
We just let Rose cleric capstone the shit out of them.
Oh,
What's the capstone for clerics again?
a divine
Automatic. Yeah,
Divine
automatic
Funny,
event
yeah.
intervention.
Right.
You're gone.
Just give me a week and then we can take on that other thing.
Make all other classes irrelevant once a day.
BT dubs, Dylan. I don't know if you knew this or if you were just pulling from whatever. Maya's from Sigil.
I messaged Rob about Sigil just to make sure it was a part of his reality. He was like, "Oh yeah, that's where mine is from." So yeah, I love that.
She would recognize these platinum pieces. She, according to like her backstory, she hung out with the Goliath in Algar for a while before traveling down to Ashar.
Okay.
Or Marak, and then to Ashar.
Right.
She met Thal and Marak.
She might know Remy.
She was real young whenever she crossed over.
I mean, Remy's probably been there for a long time.
Yeah. Hold on.
Ooh.
Because she's like in her 20s. And she would have been like 10 or 11 when she crossed over. And that would have been...
I mean, it's 50 years ago?
It's like 40 years in the future, isn't it? 35 years in the future?
Something like that. And Remy's almost definitely still alive. He's spending most of his time on the astral plane where he doesn't age.
Yeah. She might know him or her parents. Or he might know her parents or whatever.
Right, yeah.
Maybe that's where she got her attitude.
I was going to say, so many things are starting to line up.
She's part of her family's part of the Remington Hoochmonger Mercenary Company.
She is very short. Any bastards? You got any bastards, Remy?
Probably.
Oh no. Oh no.
I'm back. I feel like
He
I
does
missed
have
something.
brown hair.
We're talking about the possibility that Maya is a Hoochmonger bastard.
Oh, okay.
Being from Sigil.
This makes so much sense.
Right?
Right?
Foul-mouthed and
So suddenly it
slightly
all
short.
comes together and like kills easy. It doesn't let people have their big speeches.
Oh man.
Works on too many levels. And I wrote like 3 pages of Remy backstory for this.
Whew. I did a page and a half of like what I'd been up to, and then the presents for the Rutherfords took a page, and then presents for NPCs, and Layla took a page and a half. So and all of that was because you said presents, and I was like, oh fuck.
I think you actually outnumbered me with presents. I had 12 total.
I mean, I was actually really happy that like you asked in the chat like what would the Rutherfords like, and I was like that is some player buy-in right there. Even the NPCs presents. I thought I might, but it was nice that you asked. Yeah, I mean I have the Rutherfords and they have us, but I did couples as couples presents to like save me a little bit.
Yeah.
I also thought the gloves would go wonderfully when you are pruning your rose willows.
Which will go beautiful behind her new bench. Because I actually thought about planting a willow tree behind the bench so that she could have the willow tree and the bench and the sun. So she could have all of her favorite things all at once. But I was like, nah, that's too far. And then you had to go and do like the one half of the present I took out of mine. So it can go right behind it.
Awesome.
Yep. That's where they're going for sure.
Yeah, I thought so. I didn't know that's what C was doing, and it's just kind of worked out really well that way.
And it's like I was all like, what do I want to get Rose? I don't know what I'm going to get Rose. Oh, I know. She and Rose had like their first kiss and stuff while she was watching the dawn on the hill. So I'm going to get her a bitch to go there, commemorate it.
God, some people's memories on this. Oh,
We all back?
I think so.
I heard
yeah.
hey, Rob,
Hello.
we were discussing the possibility that Maya is a hoochmonger bastard. The timelines work.
I mean,
Short and angry and sweary and
Short, angry, brown hair.
kills
Interrupty.
a lot. Yeah.
Interrupty. Tells people to go fuck themselves constantly.
I mean, sure. Up
Roll
to
for
you,
bastard.
really.
Best.
Yeah. But if everyone's back, we can slide back into this. So everyone sits down for their meal, and the food begins to be brought out, and it's several courses over a long period of time. And the feast is just magnificent. Though there's a slightly reduced number of pigs in blankets for everyone, unfortunately, but all manner of meats and vegetables are brought out. There's giant roasted turkeys, pork, beef, just everything you could possibly want for. And everyone is...
Arthas is making sure that any smelly cheese does not cross Elishon's path.
Yeah. Because
Is he taking extra care to eat with his pinky up?
Well, there's a cheese course, so he would, I guess, help her with avoiding that. And the meal sort of goes, and everyone catches up. And while everyone's catching up, then, would anyone like to give a brief description of what they've been up to in the last 2 years?
In RP or as a like?
I will leave that up to you. But I just think, like, in terms of the story, this is when people would kind of have the opportunity to find out what everyone else has been up to.
Sure. Well, Remy can start. First of all, something I forgot to describe about Remy's new appearance. He has a full but very neatly trimmed mustache, that is waxed into little points that slightly upturn, and a little soul patch that is also waxed to a point.
He looks like Octavius.
Does he?
Yeah, Octavius had one of Dims.
That's not on purpose. Happy coincidence. But probably sitting, with the people he knows best, the three of you and your spouses. He would sort of lean in and say,
So, sorry I've been away so long. There's, been a lot going on. But, it was good reason that I was away.
And he will pull off the glove on his right hand, his left hand. And there is the mark of Cathane the Wisher, which he had previously tried to dig off of his skin with a knife.
After I left, I got to thinking there was a remarkable lack of freeloaders in my life, and I remembered Cathane. And while I made a bad impression and was a bit rude and ugly, you might guess that I might have been a little sympathetic to someone like that. And, one of my first stops was his dimension. And I offered Cathane a deal. Told him that if he could keep from being evil for a couple of years, that I would take him wherever he pleased as a part of me. Cathane, you want to say hello?
There is like a kind of strange change that comes over Remy for a moment, and he sort of inclines his head in a very un-Remy-ish like way, and you hear that kind of deep bassy voice issue from Remy's direction, though he doesn't say anything, or he doesn't. Remy's mouth doesn't move. Sorry, and you just hear very quietly, so that only you guys are able to discern it. Cathane's voice just say, "Hello, everyone. It has been some time."
I hope you're not putting my friend's eternal soul in peril.
I am not. He is merely giving me a ride.
Don't be modest. We're chums now. We've been,
And Remy is now talking to you inside your heads.
we've made something of a pact, and, we're, what'd you call it? A hybrid being now. So,
And he's going to levitate a capon off from across the table into his hand, indicating it.
and look at that. I'm a magic man.
Kind of like raise an eyebrow at Byron, hoping to be impressive.
And that's a big part of the reason I wasn't home for a little while. I wasn't going to step foot back underneath until I was sure Cathane could be trusted. And he can. He's, he kind of reminds me of some of the folks we took in on the keep. Outsiders, strangers, people who don't fit in with polite society. And I figured he deserved a chance at fulfillment just like everybody else. The other reason I stayed away is...
And he kind of looks to Byron.
Is really for you, Byron. I wanted to come back today and show you that somebody out there was looking out for this reality. That if you wanted to, you could take a break. I know you'll never stop being the watchful eye overneath, but you're a young man. All of you. You're young. I'm an old man. I want you to know that you can take time to be young. And that you and I will have lots of time, maybe infinite time, to adventure, to protect the world, be friends. And you can give your life and your attention for a little while to your, hopefully one day, wife, children maybe. And everything I've been doing has been for that. I've built myself the beginnings of a fleet. I've got myself a lovely paramour on another reality.
He'll pull out from his watch, or from his pocket, a pocket watch, and flip it open, and there's a very lovely portrait of a very busty, black-haired, green-eyed beauty.
I don't think any of you ever met Tiffany, but she's an A+ gal. So things have been good. And I just want all of you to know, but especially you, Byron, that I got my eye on things for a while.
His brow is kind of like furrowed a little bit. Speaking, can I speak in this brain conversation?
You can reply. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's good to know that you've gone so far. Seen so many things. Though I will have to take your word on it that inviting an extraplanar entity to dinner is a good idea.
You can always banish me.
You hear Cathane's voice again, and he says, "I am not offended that none of you got me presents for Ice Ray."
Oh, he's holding his tongue.
That is actually something I wanted to bring up, though. sometime in the future, maybe another century or so, if Cathane has been a good boy,
and he gives Cathane like a psychic elbow in the ribs.
I was hoping maybe you'd help me grow him a body.
Kind of like an eyebrow goes up. It is possible, but he would have to prove both to me and to you that he is deserving.
Agreed. You guys want to see my ship?
Yes. Are we on like desserts?
Yeah, it's getting that way.
Okay. I will gather up whatever dessert, wine or port or something we're on. Give a gentle touch on Vela's shoulder, like just watch out. Like beckon towards the front door, I presume, for Remy to lead on.
Yeah. And he'll towards the front door. I mean, you don't even have to leave the house. He'll stick the key out, and a sort of spectral lock will appear around it, and he'll twist it, and a door will form. And I don't know if you were ready for this, Rob, but we'll step through. And on the other side of the door is a very busy deck of a ship, with points of starlight in the backdrop.
He says, "Welcome to the White Lady, or the Lady in White."
So you guys, you step out onto the deck of this ship, and it is a very unnerving experience because it's not like the Greyfly, and it's not like any normal ship you've been on. There's lots of unfamiliar weights and sails and things that don't look like they particularly belong. You see several smart-looking kind of people just bustling about, getting chores done or whatever, and one of them kind of calls out like "Captain on board," and the rest kind of echo that until everyone on the ship knows, and Remy gets a couple nods and waves, but nothing much more than that for now.
This is just a skeleton crew. Most of them are on material leave right now, but pilot should be about somewhere. He goes by the name of Trez. He's a gift, something or another. Good fellow, though. So, what about all of you? How's the last 2 years been treating you?
Look to the others.
Well, I've mostly been split between helping Byron get the halls up and running and archiving our findings in Orithil and all of the things that happened in Frosthaven. Been doing a bit more of my own studies. That's pretty much it. I've been busy, and she kind of like has like her hand on like in Arthas's. It's like, getting married and then the halls and taking care of the keep and stuff, and helping Rose get ready for her own wedding.
Sounds like all happy business.
Been trying to be.
Well, I'm glad for you. Oh, I do have something for any one of you. I probably have the most use for Elle or Byron.
He reaches into his pocket, inside pocket, and it's a little scroll.
Now, it occurred to me sometime after I left that we had no way of getting in touch across the plains, but this might do the trick.
And it's a scroll of contact other plane.
Pretty sure that if you try to contact Cathane, you should be able to reach him. You might go crazy, but you probably won't, so don't worry about it.
I'll
If you
take
need
that
me.
under advisement.
I think the Byron can add that to his books, to his spell book.
Yeah,
Mm.
contact Cathane.
Go mad. Probably not.
Probably not.
But probably yes.
It wouldn't be a Remy present if there wasn't the risk of death or insanity.
It's very true.
Yeah. Most of Elishon's business was pretty much what I put in the chat. She's been very into like maintenance and administrative things as Grand Archivist Fembrethil. So she's been hard at work. And other than like, you know, being a newlywed and what have you, like finally being like free of like the chaos and like not having any chaos in on like the plane in general, like the dark shadows and like sunken circles that were usually under her eyes from like, you know, lack of sleep or whatever, those have probably like filled out a bit. And so like, you know, it could be the glow of being pregnant, or it could just be that shadow is gone, so she just kind of looks more sunny. Like the sunny side of her half elf is like a lot more prominent than it used to be.
Well, you look good.
Thank you.
Well, you know, I've been busy trying to get the temple up and running, you know, spent some time in Vyros officially petitioning for recognition to build it beyond just a small little thing. Then the idiots that told me that a dwarf couldn't build a temple of Lathander got me thinking that maybe I'd go to Doggerall and get myself some dwarven craftsmen to build it. And
Show the
Yeah.
idiots what they know.
exactly, I'm going to have the best temple in all of Lament.
Well, when the Hoochmonger Mercantile Navy is up and running, you can expect donations on a yearly basis.
Thank you for your generosity. You know, the first real event we had was the Fimberthal wedding, which was an interesting affair.
I'll remember.
You know, and just, you know, occasionally get some time to run over to the halls and with Byron and lock ourselves away and perform whatever research we can. I won't tell anyone the secrets that it's really just us, you know, hiding from reality.
A lot of realities out there to hide from, apparently.
It's a lot of work running a city. You just need to get away sometimes.
How's old Crakey?
CD as always.
So Craig wouldn't have spent that much time with you guys afterwards. He's kind of like Nanny McPhee. Sort of goes more where he's needed than content to hang around in one place. You know, he's always looking for a new challenge, a new thing to run. So he would have gone to Bellerne and like kind of lended his administrative services there and kind of helping to install the new council leadership and set up the kind of democracy there and make sure the transition is as smooth as possible before heading on to bigger and better things. Though you probably haven't heard from him in some time.
He's still probably being seedy as all get out, though, right? Running around doing whatever the hell he wants to do. So,
As he should be.
and you know, gonna get hitched in the spring.
And congratulations.
Yeah, there were a lot of people who never thought I would settle down.
Surprised me.
Yeah.
Although you picked a good one.
And when you find the right one, you find the right one, right?
That is what they say.
Elishon nods.
We definitely should meet this Tiffany.
Oh yeah, she's a good egg. So the thing I didn't know about the ladies of Coconut Island, apparently they are entirely immortal. Don't age, don't even really need to eat much, though they do. They kind of just have been existing on this island since the dawn of time. Just having pillow fights and tickling each other and stuff like that. But she's a good gal.
You should have brought her.
See, I don't think she can actually leave the plane. I've tried to get her to leave. She seems downright opposed.
Well, then perhaps we should go to her.
If you're up for it.
Right now?
If you want.
I think it would probably be rude if we just ducked out like that. But maybe sometime in the future?
Whenever you feel like it.
Does she have my dear friend Remy thinking about settling down? Or
No. We've come to an understanding. It's sort of a non-monogamous thing, Neither of us ever want to be tied down, but we're committed, We're committed to one another, but not exclusively, if that makes any sense. We are both beings of carnal desire, and our appetites know no bounds. It's why it works.
Fair enough. And the eye patch?
Oh, yeah.
He'll flip that up, and his right eye, the iris has gone completely yellow gold, and it sort of like moves and shifts like molten lava. And he sort of like, he'll put his fingers straight up in the air and go, "Wah!" and just start blasting eldritch blasts, and the eye like flares with this like bright golden light. He lets off like a dozen or so eldritch blasts just off into the astral plane.
Pretty cool, huh?
I guess.
Goodness.
If you say you're all right, I believe you and I trust you.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty good.
You know the state of your soul better than anyone.
Well, that's the thing, when I first went to the dark dimension of Cathane the Wisher, we had a long talk. And I spelled out some very explicit terms for our arrangement. And I'm fairly confident that my soul belongs to me and his belongs to him. We're just...
I would like... Oh, sorry.
Sure. Just sharing the same headspace for a while.
I would like to insight check for me to see if he's himself.
Yeah, I was thinking that same
You want to
thing.
do a roll? What is this?
Yeah.
This is D&D.
I'm thinking the same thing.
Roll it.
That is a 19 on the dice. Plus, oh, Elishan, I missed you so much. Plus 15.
Plus 50.
Plus 15 for 34.
I only got a 30, so...
These
I mean-
shitty rolls, guys.
Remy seems to be telling the truth, certainly. So I'll let Rob, you interject if you need to, but Remy seems self-satisfied and comfortable in his own skin in a way that you've never seen him.
Yeah.
He seems, able to, laugh at himself in a way that he couldn't before. He seems to really believe everything he's saying about Cathane as sort of a misunderstood and lonely being that he relates to personally. And and if you continued talking about it without RP being necessary, he would sort of say that, like, Remy's arc from the time he's young has been someone who is, shit upon by everybody. He's a terrible halfling, and other halflings hate him. And it wasn't until he came to the keep that he started this slow process of accepting other people and being accepted by other people. And so when it was all done, he always felt kind of bad about this being who came to him and asked for help, essentially rudely, poorly, But ultimately, Remy was like, "You got to get the fuck out," and Cathane left. Right. So what I'll explain is that the relationship was established newly on equal footing. You know,
Yeah.
from a place of trust.
Yeah.
And so that's where he's at with it.
Rose will kind of put her hand on like his bicep and be like, "Well, you seem at peace with your decision, wherever that may lead."
He blushes a little bit. Like,
Oh, well, you know me, never really at peace. I still curse, I still fart and spit, piss on people, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
She'll kind of give him his arm a gentle squeeze. We care about you, so you have to understand our concern.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Shall we back to Rutherford, Mance?
Yes, quite. Rutherford, Byron was mostly just like looking around the ship and over the edge and that kind of thing. Like, are they docked in Sigil or are they just on the Astral Sea? Or
Astral Sea
So,
at the moment,
Astral
probably.
Sea,
okay,
yeah.
right.
So we're probably like just at like a floating bit of like astral debris that they're anchored to or docked with. But yeah,
If you're ready to go back, I can open a gate for us.
Be my guest.
key comes out, spectral keyhole, spectral door, Rutherford Mance.
Yeah, and you guys appear back in the drawing room. I imagine
Before I leave, I will send a psychic message to Trez and let him know that I'm going to need his help getting a ship back to the astral plane in a little bit.
Sure thing, Remy. Comes his response. Yeah, and you guys, I imagine you didn't just like do it at the dinner table.
Yeah, we probably stepped into the foyer or whatever.
So you walk back in and everyone's kind of like leaning back in their chairs, very full, chatting animatedly. A couple of the kids have like dozed off in their parents' laps or are kind of quietly playing with some newly acquired toys. And the evening kind of lapses into this quiet, calm, sort of generally just relaxing, that kind of post Christmas meal calm where everyone's kind of feeling sleepy and
Elishan is asleep.
She conks out early now.
Yeah.
afternoon kind of turns to evening. And then it seems I do get to do an encounter.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Roll initiative.
Wait, but Dan had his thing.
Oh, of
That
course.
that was
I do have
Dan-
my thing.
that
Do you,
was
do you want it
Dan's unhappy
pre-encounter
voice.
or
Do
post-encounter?
it pre-encounter because the sort of conversation.
Okay.
We might die.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've all made okay. I also I didn't get to share what I'd been up to, but he would have
Yeah,
said
that's yeah. So my understanding was you wanted to do your gift thing after, like right at
Yes,
the end. So
absolutely.
you can
but I
share
was
what
just
you've
we
been
were
up to
just
now.
sharing what our past
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Sorry, I just completely blanked there.
It's okay. So he would generally on that deck of that ship or something, he would have said things along the lines of. So he studied all those Orithilian books and learned how to speak and made like a dead language, effectively. He learned Vela's native language, like Undercommon or something along those lines. And he's mastered like various like alchemic and herbalist kits and things they had to use for creating the presents. He talked wishfully. I don't think he's got around to doing it, but he wanted to go on like a walkabout with Claufey to go find one of the very first books we were given. It spoke of Badrag, a giant stonesmith that he believes is somewhere around the area, possibly still alive or something. and he was going to go with Clouthy to do that, but never found the time. He established permanent teleportation circles to like Orythil and Vyros and places, Belern. He's sent teams to scout out. There was another city further north of Orythil, and he has sent teams to go and do that. Like, might not have had many results yet. He considerably and rapidly aided the magical construction of his halls using like his solid illusions and other things, including increasing Frosthaven to a relatively larger city, or a city at all, and Belern like revitalization projects. I think in the absence of not being able to find the young heir and Tegwin, Remy's friend, not wanting to take over, they kind of set up a council. One of them being the refugee leader, if you remember the guy that was leading the refugees away, called Tade. But Byron insisted on becoming like the court mage of Belern to keep a hand in their dealings, though he's often far too busy and delegates it to someone else. But does appear when he can be. So he's like hired and staffed and like filled with students like his halls, but he's also set up a feeder school in Belern for the magically talented, so he can poach the best, I guess. There is a little bit of a flashback as we go to the. I was thinking that it doesn't make much sense, unfortunately. I wrote like a joke at the end of his speech for the inauguration ceremony, but it's about Remy and it's about the coconut plane. But if you weren't
Aw.
there, then it doesn't make any sense. But basically, the dragon skull and the Marin sapling are like on his grounds, and they had, a big to do for the official opening. And there has been lots of archiving with Eloshan of the vast library, and also he had that book bot, and we had that curator construct that we destroyed, but he, I think, has revitalized that and maybe like started early level. He was more focused on the ship to begin with, but he's like delving into golem constructs. He also is fulfilling agreements to the dwarves that we had to make about giving them portions of books to look over for moving that army around, and secretly he still fumes about having to give up that control. There's also the favor that hangs over him from Arbiter Sengrin of the Dethoin halls, the rainy halls that we went and had that dinner at to get our mercenaries home. He personally led scouring of Orythil for other skyship various technologies, so he could reverse engineer / miniaturize them for partially for presents for his friends, partially so he could further the science of skyships. There's also a little bit because we've skipped levels and gained things, because he went to maximum level wizard. He can now cast enlarge, reduce, and shield at will, effectively, which is why he was just able to do it, and it's helped immensely. He also, with building and stuff, he took the feat resilient charisma, so he's now got a straight 10 charisma, which is why he's a little bit more confident now.
Nice.
And also after all these extraterrestrial beings trying to get into his head and things, and mess with us, he's stronger against that. He also gained the signature spells Fly, which he never flew before, but people now, or Eloshan and Rose would know that he flies quite often. With all of this work on the ships and the sky ships, it's become a necessity. And then he also gained Fireball, which he never had before, but it is of blue flame.
Nice.
And then I had a little bit. Time goes quickly between his many projects, spending that sparse free time between with his friends, both their mundane and their important moments, and his quiet time with Vela, the times he can relax and only has 6 or so or less things to do at once. They spend their time reading, cozied up against the snowy world outside. They travel to see the sights, mountains, cities, forests, shores, to see family, to see the world. Byron is only sometimes working in the background. They walk, rarely running. They have time. And that was his background. Stuff.
I like that line.
I know. I wanted to say it just basically for that line because I really, really like that line. Okay, and now we go into his present thing.
Did you want to do that? No? It's up to you.
It's.
I have to wrap it up by 7 o'clock, so about an hour and 45 minutes at the latest.
Okay.
So it's up to you.
It's not going to take very long. Will what you have planned take us away from where we are in any significant way, or like cliffhangers or anything?
No.
Do you want to do your bit and then we end on my bit?
You mentioned to me when we were talking that you'd rather do it like at the end.
Yes, ideally.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
That shouldn't be a problem.
Sweet.
So
we await.
Everyone is sitting quietly, enjoying the, as I said, post ice rain meal, kind of sleepiness and just that kind of heavy, relaxed feeling. When suddenly, from outside in the street, there is this echoing, very deep crash, and then the sound of like kind of dropping rubble and kind of clattering.
Remy's gonna reach into his pouch of holding, grab a blue sapphire and crush it, and summon this Sword of Feast of Famine into his hand.
Boom. The ground shakes, and there's another. Like a couple of the kids start crying. People are like screaming around the room.
Remy's gonna take the key, open a door to a pocket dimension that he just made up in his head right now, and say, "Everybody through the door!"
People are kind of stunned for a period, not really knowing what's going on, but being berated, everyone will begin like charging through the door, grabbing their kids.
It is fully stocked with food and booze.
Awesome. And eventually it's just the group left alone. And you hear a loud, echoing voice from outside. And the voice sounds like it's kind of coming from everywhere, massively magnified. And it just says, "Lords of the Keep." And there's this like rumbling, shaking as the whole kind of building moves with the voice, and the door kind of like the front door to the house kind of cracks and falls aside. And you see like through the drawn curtains, there's like this bright orange light that's kind of coming through the cracks.
I'll go to a window and look.
Sure. Outside, you see these gigantic, spiked, almost like claws. They're giant. They're like huge, kind of black metal. They almost look like the heads of maces, but with these like kind of spike protrusions that grip into the ground. There's 4 of them, kind of crushed up in holes in the cobbles, and attached to them on chains is this figure floating, like the chains kind of in his hands. He's wreathed in fire, with this kind of ebony dark skin, like long kind of braided hair down the back of his head, burning red eyes. His skin looks like it's made of it's cracking, and like magma is bursting forth. As you see a figure you've not seen in a little while, Amon, in the street outside.
Remy's gonna kick open the door,
Good to see you again, you flaming shit stain.
And throw up the eye patch and cast Hex at him.
For sure. Does he get a save, yeah?
No.
No, it just happens. Okay.
Yep. He's going to have disadvantage on charisma checks.
Sure. In response, he's going to make an attack at you.
Okay.
Does a 37 hit.
Yes.
So with this like loud magnified grunt of effort, he kind of swings his hand, and one of the chains.
Can I get an attack off before he does? Like,
So he's quite far away from you.
Well, I have 300 feet of range.
I mean, sure, but you used your action to cast Hex.
And it's a bonus action.
Then yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, I do not get my expanded critical threat range, but that's going to be a 29
Hits.
and a 26
Misses.
on the first two. Okay. A 27
Hits.
and a 13.
Misses.
So it's going to be 2d10 plus 2d6. 6, 10, 16. That would be 26 points of force damage.
Okay. So what is this you're actually doing? Casting a spell.
Eldritch Blast.
Eldritch Blast. Okay. So it kind of strikes him across the chest, and he just there's no indication that you would even hit him. This gigantic mace, like probably 7-8 feet long, looks like it would weigh as much as a horse, comes flying down towards you, crashes through the mantle of the door above you, so that the house kind of like groans and kind of caves slightly in on itself, like the two walls leaning, and just smashes down against you.
Ah!
Remy takes 53 bludgeoning damage. And I'm going to say we roll initiative because there's only one doorway.
He looks the same as he used to look, or does he have like a new body and we're just kind of like, that's definitely a mom?
No, he looks the same.
He had like dreadlocks and his cracked skin and stuff, like we'd seen him, but he's wreathed in flame now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did have a new body for a while.
Okay.
But that's since been replaced by a new
or
body.
reformed or whatever. I got a 26 because I got a crit on my initiative.
Joke.
I got a 28 because I got a crit on my initiative.
I just went for the dice that I was using. I've been using for like coding things, but then I thought I should use my old dice. So I'm actually, for the first time, I think, getting out the older dice.
Now I'm mad at myself for chickening out of my Christmas speech so I could inspiring leader everybody. Oh well. But hey, you guys already have your +1, even though I haven't cast White Circle yet.
Whee! I got an 11.
13. Oh, get there, Rose.
I mean, it's exactly where you want the cleric to go last.
Too much.
Okay. Remy, you're up first.
How far is he?
From you, he's kind of in the middle of the street, so like 20 feet like away from you and like 15 feet up.
Okay, so I can't reach him with, unless I have some help. Yeah, more Eldritch Blasts.
Did you say he had like a giant thing on a chain?
He has 4 gigantic maces, basically, or morning stars, really.
And they're attached to him?
He's holding them.
Right.
Okay.
But
he's
it's like
flying.
two on each chain. So basically, it's one.
Could I
he's holding the
potentially
middle of
run
the
up
chain.
the chain?
Yeah, the thick chains.
Well, then
That's
I will do that.
Maybe not run up, but you could climb up.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's gonna be kind of tough. I think I'm gonna have to wait for somebody to levitate me. I'll move closer, but I'll just be firing off Eldritch Blasts at him as I go.
Sure.
That's gonna miss. That's gonna miss. God damn it. That'll hit. That's 27 again, and that'll also hit. Ooh, good roll. 10, 22, 32 points of damage.
Nice. Is that your turn, Remy?
Yep.
Oh, I haven't said that in a while. It feels. Elishan,
It's Elishan's turn. Okay.
you're
So-
inside.
I am inside and I run to the door and I see everything as described. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. He's about 15 feet up away from me. 20 feet. So he's. And so you said he's like flying up, right?
Yeah.
And going first is hard for a spellcaster.
You got Earthbind?
No, but she's going to I'll just get the try and get this off going. She's going to clutch the dove holy symbol that Rose just gave her, and she's going to point a finger and like say a little prayer to Arame and command him to drop.
Okay.
So that's command. It's wisdom save.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be rubbish at that. Oh wait. How does a 28 do you?
Yeah, 28's fine. I tried. Bonus action.
Yo, Remy.
Ooh. Yeah, bonus action. She's going to like look up at him and say, "What the hell do you want?" And yeah, she's gonna bonus action. What the hell do you want?
Bonus action. What the hell do you want? Vela runs.
He has no response.
No, because it's his turn after Vela.
Well, I mean,
So
he
he'll
could
respond then. So Vela is gonna run, and you see her just like dive kind of behind one of the trees, and then she kind of appears like leaping from one of the rooftops, just like in a flash, just disappears and reappears, and she kind of like lands on his back and just like rams her elbow into his head several times. So
Wait, how'd she get up there? She ran up the wall.
No, Shadow Monk, teleport.
Oh.
Hardcore
The tree to space.
parkour.
Yeah.
So that's 3 hits. I haven't leveled her up all the way, but that's fine. You know, she didn't get all the XP from as much XP as Evelyn. Okay. So yeah, you just see her like.
dead for part of that fight.
Pardon?
I said, is it because she was dead for part of the fight?
Yeah.
I mean,
You hush now.
Excuse me.
You see, like, once she's kind of done, she like drops back away from him, like kind of going below him so he can't hit her with the maces. You see Amon, kind of.
So she does something.
Yeah, she does damage.
Okay,
Not a huge amount,
Okay.
but you know.
sure.
Amon roars, and he says, I will never forgive what you did to me. And he's gonna swing his like two of the maces with one hand in a massive arc across the front of your house, and it like smashes through like the upper floors, just like destroying the wall, and like the roof kind of caves slightly. The other one he brings slamming down towards Elishan and Remy again, and he can attack both of you. So 29 to hit Remy, 28 to hit Elishan. Oof, those are bad rolls.
I'm going
Those
to.
were bad rolls.
He's got like plus 15 at least or something. I'm going to use lucky, and I rolled a 2, so I'm going to use that roll.
To hit you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't do it for anybody else, unfortunately.
Sure. What's your armor class?
25.
Okay, he misses. But he still hits Elishan.
Fuck you. I mean, yes.
Okay, that's just very rude.
If anybody rolls a natural 1, let me know.
Have you got bountiful luck?
I do.
Yes, baby.
You take 42 bludgeoning damage. And you see fire like flare up across his neck, and kind of like traveling down the nape of his back and across his shoulders. Willows go.
Elishan's just going to yell, "What the hell did we do to you?"
For Willow's go, she's gonna like look around for a weapon, realize she doesn't have one, and like run into another room and grab like maybe a ceremonial sword off the wall or something, before charging back towards you. But that's gonna be her whole turn because she'll have to dash to do that.
Has she been leveled up a little bit at least?
Pardon?
Has she been leveled up a little bit at least?
Wasn't she like level 5?
Yeah,
I mean, she got leveled up before the like fight with what's her face, Evelyn. So because she was in the ground force for that. Byron.
Hello. Byron is going to be just like furious. As his house is being smashed around him, it's his like childhood, his memories, his family. And he's just gonna go, no, not here, not now. This and he's like gonna start like just parts of him start to like crack and start like blue flame starts to emerge from underneath it, and I am going to start casting Pyrosephira,
Dope.
which will take me another 2 rounds to get off. And in front of him has appeared like the Enchiridion huge book, and it's just floating, and the pages are just like going crazy, just like there are swirls of wind and gouts of fire, and this book is just pages are rippling and rippling, and that is what is happening.
Rose.
Sorry, I have a bonus action, so I'm going to manipulate one of the illusions that he has placed either on the ship or just around, and he is going to aim to basically generate within a certain foot square, and I can't remember what major image is, like 20 foot by 20 foot,
Sure.
just like throughout the lower bit of the house, there's just Byron after Byron after Byron after Byron, just all of them with books in front of them.
Love it.
Like
mirror image on crack. Rose.
All right. So Rose is going to kind of calmly just kind of walk forward and look at Amon and say, I will show you the power of a true god. And I am going to divine intervention. You know, it would be really nice if this motherfucker wasn't flying around and were attached to the ground for the duration of this fight. So I'm going to beseech Lathander to ground this motherfucker.
And it always works, correct?
Yes, it does.
Awesome.
At 20.
Damn.
You see, it's kind of, it's twilight at the moment, and it's almost like that's reversed as the sunlight just bursts forth down into this street, and you see these, like, the sunlight almost becoming like physical around Amon as these like massive kind of chains begin like wrapping around him, and you can see his like body beginning to sag and strain until finally the like weight of this just drops him to the ground, and he's like on one knee breathing heavily, and he like is kind of pressing against it to try and lift himself up, and like can't quite swing with the chains, and so he just drops them.
And bonus action, spiritual weapon as he hits the ground, and basically uppercut him in the face.
Boom. So you see, this other part of the sunlight forms. Was it a hammer? It used to be.
Yes.
And that that just swings like the pendulum of a grandfather clock and just crashes into his face and sends him sprawling onto his back.
For it's 21 hit.
21 misses.
Damn it. So it hits him, but I don't, maybe like reflects off or something.
Is that your turn?
Well, yeah, it's my turn, but is it my boys go?
Yeah.
Green!
Cream!
What was this?
I mean,
Dumb
Cream
fucked up
leveled with
now.
us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, buddy, come on. With his new hammer.
Cream
or his
can't
new-
roll below a 20.
Oh, okay,
Just because I decided that.
because I rolled a 2 and a 4, so that's a 16 and an 18 to hit.
Unfortunately, that misses. So Cream goes charging with his new sword, and like takes these big kind of heavy swings. He's not really used to the weight, and Amon like rolls backwards out of the way. Does Cream have anything else he'd like to do?
No, maybe he'll hiss.
What are Kreen's auras?
The
Plus
best
5.
ones.
Well, right, but he's also got. Are we immune to fear? Or immune to charm? That kind of thing.
Hold on
What kind
one.
of paladin is he?
Hold on a second.
He's a dog paladin. That's all you need to know.
Is it unfortunately, or is it
Yeah,
devotion?
and 30 feet can't be charmed and can't be frightened.
Okay. He's also got his channel divinity. Don't forget, which gives him plus his charisma modifier to his attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Arthur's comes barreling, we'll say through the window for dramatic effect. Just like smashes through it. As he does, his form just shifting. Arthur's is the one NPC who has leveled. And you see now that like when he's shifting into his like kind of were direwolf type form, he's now like 12 feet tall, gigantic, and just like tackles Amon. And for once in his pitiful life, Arthas rolls fucking baller, which he never does. He always rolled terrible in every fight.
He's inspired because his pregnant wife just took 50 damage.
Hundy P. You
It's
see,
probably not great for your pregnancy.
should be fine.
There's magic.
Yeah.
What,
Oh,
warding,
no.
warding bond?
Yeah,
Is that the damage?
I'm not a high enough cleric for warding bond, unfortunately.
Oh.
And so
You get a natural mother's warding bond.
yeah, haven't you read Harry Potter?
Yeah, exactly.
As he's charging in, you're seeing his like form kind of shift, and become sort of frosty, and as he like begins striking down at Amon, you see these like splashes of water as he takes on this elemental form, and it's just like the flames on covering Amon's body are just like being beaten back by this onslaught of water as he's doing some dope shit. Back to the top, Remington.
Now that he's on the ground, Remy says, "That's more like it." And totally forgetting that I had given Remy a cloak of the bat. And it's dark out now. He's going to just fly 40 feet and glide. He technically can't do that while he's holding weapons, but just for effect. And yeah, he's going to take some attacks with the sword and feast of famine. I don't have advantage for any fun reason, do I?
No.
Okay. First attack is a 27.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be my magic number. Second attack is a 27. 2 14s in a row. Third attack is that's a crit. A 19 on the die. That's 3 attacks with the sword of feast of famine. Fourth attack with the offhand is a bonus action. That's a miss. I am going to action surge. So let me just keep track of my hits here. Hit, crit. Another crit with a 19. Probably a miss with a 19 total.
Yes, that's gonna miss, I'm afraid.
Final is another 27. So crit, miss, hit. And fuck it, I'll action surge again.
Yeah.
Natural 20. Miss. And another crit with an 18.
Damn, dude.
Crit, miss, crit. All right, dice roller. Here we go. So that is 1.
Oh my god.
I'm really sorry, guys.
It's all good.
So 1 hit with the Sword of Feast of Famine is 1d8 plus 3d6. 46, sorry. Plus 1d4 plus 7. I guess I should just do it all together, huh? So another hit is going to be double all those numbers. 2, 8, 2, and then a crit would be double those numbers again. So that goes up to 4, 16, 4. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll those. Then I'll do the rest of it.
Just roll every dice in your hand.
I'm so sorry. You gave me the stupid sword. 21.
Fine. Next time I won't give you a stupid sword. That's how you can be.
So the first 3 hits are 31 plus 54 plus 20. 85, 105.
105, yeah.
I'm going to clear all those. Start from scratch. So 1 crit is 2d4 plus 8d6 plus 2d8. Then a miss, then a hit would be an additional d4. And 4 additional d6. And 1 additional d8. So that's 3 rolls gone. Plus 14. Roll. That would be 74, 84, 89 points of damage.
89.
And then 2 more crits and I'm done. So that is going to be 44 plus 16d6
Jeez.
plus 48 plus 14. For a total of, oh gosh, that's so many sevens. 17 plus 27 plus 67. So what is that? 21.
Yeah.
God damn it. I'm just going to use calculator.
It's all
Sorry.
good. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the total of those crits?
The last 3 rolls there?
Yeah, I just added them individually. Give me a sec. It was 27, or 17, 27, and
67.
67. Yeah, so that's 14. Yeah. Sorry, I'm blanking.
No, it's fine.
This is all I've spent my week doing. Cool.
What was the total? So I can write it down.
111.
111. Cool. Moving on.
So it was close to 300 damage in a round?
Yeah.
And he feels pretty good about himself.
Yeah, 105 damage, I think. Sorry, 305 damage.
Woo.
Damn, boy.
Remy's just this like miasma of like orange mist like pouring out of his right eye, and his left hand is pulsing with like black energy, and yeah, he looks like a badass. Done.
Awesome. Alisha.
It's Elishan's go. And she's gonna take a look at Byron, who's in the midst of doing a spell that's gonna take quite some time, and
So
in an effort
I thought it was
to-
going to. Sorry, I thought it was going to take 3 rounds to cast because I thought the 18 seconds was the casting time. I don't think it is. I think 18 seconds is the duration. So he is actually done and good.
Oh.
Sorry.
You can have it start from your next turn though, Dan. Just so you're not missing out a round of duration though.
Well, it costs an action to cast, I presume. So that's how I presume
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
work. Yeah, sure. Sorry, I thought it was a build-up. I've reread it, and it is even more ridiculous than I thought. So,
well,
Yeah.
Sorry,
Remy
buddy.
also heals a bunch of
either
shit.
way,
Sorry.
it's going to not really change what I'm gonna do because
Okay.
I want to try and burn through some legendary resistances. She's gonna tell Amon to go back to the hell from which she came, and she's going to cast banishment on him.
What does he do?
That's a charisma saving throw, sir.
He's rubbish at that. 34.
What? Okay, no, it's no fun if he makes all of the saves. How does?
Oh, there's a reason he has it. It's because I said so.
He's Amon the Mockingbird.
I'm telling you, it's definitely the case. And he's mocking us.
Well, he had like a really high wisdom, and he had a really high charisma.
He's probably got legendary resistances too.
Okay.
He's got really high
Well,
everything.
yeah. So okay, waste my turn. That'll be it then.
Yeah, that's 2 turns you've wasted actually. Just keep it.
oh,
Ouch. Oh, cool, man.
You son of a bitch.
It's not gonna work, and Elishan's gonna like growl and get all frustrated, and she's gonna like fist clench is gonna like slam it down into the wood frame, and it's gonna have like that scary pregnant lady strength where it just like cracks what's
no.
remaining there.
I'm on runs.
Oh god, she's pregnant, run.
I didn't know.
Oh, hey, sorry. So sorry. We'll do this in 6 months.
Sorry.
Okay, Vela misses. Hits. Misses. 2 hits. for a total of 23 damage. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Guess whose go it is?
I'm on?
Yep. So, there is a Vela, an Amon, a Vela, a Remy, an Arthas, and a Crean
Crean.
around him. So they can all have one, and Remy can have an extra one. So, Crean, 22 to hit.
Yeah.
Vela, 28 to hit. That hits. That's a bad roll. Arthur's 23 to hit. That hits.
No,
No?
it's gonna be a 15. Elishan's gonna be like, "You look at me whenever I'm talking to you, you motherfucker!" And
I want to
cutting
see
her.
your manager.
Not the mom yet, but she's
Awesome.
she's gonna cutting words, Arthas.
Love it. Remy,
Mhm.
that's going to be a 33 and a 37 to hit you.
I'll lucky the 33, see if I can bring that down. I rolled a 6 on the die.
Does a 26 hit you?
It just does.
Okay.
Fuck.
You got something you can do about that, Dan?
I think he was more
I
complaining
have something I'm about.
about the
No,
modifier.
no, yeah, that was me just going, oh god, he has a plus 20 modifier.
Oh, okay.
Something is coming very, very quickly.
Okay. So how much am I taking here?
So, let me just... So, Arthur's missed. It hit Vela. She takes 44, which is split
Shit.
between fire and bludgeoning.
Okay.
So let me know if you have resistances to one of those.
I mean, you have a sheet. I don't think she does.
No. So I was for when he hits you guys. I mean.
Okay, right.
Crean takes 37, of which 25 is bludgeoning, and X 8, 9, 10, 13 is 12 is bludgeoning. 25 is fire. And Remy.
Mm.
Do you need me to distinguish between fire and bludgeoning, or does it
No,
all
sir.
just... That's what I like
No
to
resistances.
hear. That's what I like to hear. You take 28 from the first one and 38 from the second one,
That's not
for a
too bad.
total of 64.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
64 damage. Okay.
Um,
Remy looks pretty good because he healed a bunch last turn with the Sword and Feast of Famine. Oh, Amon has a point of exhaustion, so he has disadvantage on charisma checks and all checks, I guess.
oh, sick.
Because of the feast and
Yeah.
the family.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's going to bonus action disengage from you all and move 40 feet down the street.
Pussy!
And
He's bound.
yeah, that's just so he can fly.
I mean, yeah.
She could have asked for him to be killed, I guess.
I mean,
I was kind of thinking, like, why not just wish him out of existence here?
because I wanted us to have fun.
I know.
I think like the god things usually like they hamper rather than solve
Right.
problems. But
I mean, she did technically ask him to be like attached to the ground until for the
Yeah.
duration of the fight. So
It's pretty specific.
You get what you get.
it's not what I asked.
Lathander's
for.
like, listen,
Willow,
don't look a gift god in the mouth.
yeah, Willow's gonna have to dash to get to him, because he's 40 feet away from her now. Well, kind of a bit more than that actually. So she's gonna do that. Run up, follow you guys. Byron.
So I thought it had that lead-in time, but it does not. So he would have taken steps outside of the house to not destroy the house in the process, and with a book like spinning in front of him. And then when he is basically entirely blue flame, it snaps closed and disappears.
Have you
And
have you cast this before?
no, never.
Sweet.
This is why I did this for you. I wanted this one shot so he
Yes.
could cast this spell.
Yes.
You become an eidolon of flame, a hulking 30-foot-tall bear moth forged from blue flame. You appear as a winged angelic creature, blue of skin and hair. You carry a giant red staff. You may cast any other Enchiridion spell without expending spell slots, which is ridiculous, and your melee is 1d4 times 100
What?
bludgeoning, and you get 500 hit points in this
Jesus
form,
Christ.
and you walk 120 feet and fly 300. You star jamming with the best of them. I was saving this. I didn't use this against the last boss because I thought I don't want to like ruin
Well, what's
it.
the point of having anybody else there?
Sure. So he steps outside, going like, just shouting like, "You are not welcome," and he expands to this ridiculous titan of fire.
Yeah, so I can't
when
really
you touch
describe
him.
it much like that, other than he's now like the height of all the buildings around him. This floating Byron fire angel.
He will walk all the way up to the tiny Amon and go and basically like lean in and go, "This reality is mine," and then he is going to do the meek spell, the level 8 one that does 4d100 damage.
Can
to
you
him.
just cast this spell? Can you cast another one?
I cast this one last round.
Yeah.
So this is now the new round of him in this new form. Because I thought this had lead in, but it does not. So this does ridiculous things. 63 plus 60 damage, so 123 plus 69.
Hey. 192.
And then 70.
So 262. 282. 262. Sorry.
I will believe you. So basically, he opens just a palm, and then he speaks that meek, and just like this torrent of fire just slams into the cobblestone streets.
Flamethrower.
Effectively.
Is he hurtable by fire?
By this fire.
Yes. It doesn't actually have a damage type. It just says damage. Because this is like before magic was magic, like the secrets of magic.
Yeah, it's just
magic
like pure magical energy that manifests as fire. It doesn't say it in the spell description, but there's a slow chugging Black Sabbath riff that is accompanied whenever you cast the spell. So just imagine that also.
Sorry, I should have mentioned his roll to hit was a 31, which I presume got past his armor.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Nice.
And
you see like Amon's eyes going wide. His skin kind of cracks and like burns away, and you can see he's looking pretty rough. In the center of his chest, there's this massive cavity, and it's all like scarred, and the flesh is red from what you can see. And in the center, like kind of pulled back, now no longer defended by his like magical protections. You see like his heart in the center of his chest is black, and it's beating like rapidly. And you see there's like blood kind of leaking out of the hole. Rose.
I would say, Remy, you did more damage in one turn than I did in giant angel form. But
took all my resources though.
Sure, it did.
Yeah. I mean, you still did it
This
with
is
a
a level
sword. Byron had to become 30 feet tall just to almost match you. So, Remy's still the most badass creature in the universe.
Pretty baller, sure.
Yeah, so Rose, follow that turn.
So we haven't had a chance to burn through any of those resistances, have we?
Nope.
Nope, because the motherfucker has insane saves.
So I guess he's it's closer than 60 feet, right?
Yeah, he is.
I'll cast Dawn. Hold
Sure.
on one. And I need a Constitution save.
Don't worry, he'll props fail.
Probably not.
Sorry, I dropped his stats. That's only a 19.
That is a save.
BL.
So he takes half of 18 points of damage.
Nice.
And then I'll just move my spiritual weapon towards him, but it's not going to get close enough.
Cool. Arthas is going to follow, chasing up behind the giant beast.
Oh wait, we forgot Kreen.
Crane!
I think he just has to dash though. I don't think he can get to him
Crane
in
can.
time. Kreen can.
I've just decided.
Okay. There we go. Kreen's gonna go up there.
He gets plus 15 movement.
I was gonna say he's just gonna move up there, and then he was just gonna do his channel divinity holy weapon. So and that's it. So that's all he can do.
Sick. Yeah. So Arthas is gonna chase, and his movement is pretty baller. So he gets up to Amon, lays into him with a few attacks. Miss. Brilliant. That's the Arthas we know and love. He didn't even roll that bad. Like 2 of them were above 20. Just, I guess he wasn't prepared for this lich. You see, kind of from the other end of the street, it looks like guards running towards you, but kind of herring out in front of them are 2 other figures that are sort of getting closer, and they're not dressed like guards. One's dressed relatively similarly to Rose, kind of like this heavy armor, just running basically towards the scene, like eyes wide and staring up at Byron. And the other, because he's a little far away, I'll let you guys make a perception check.
My passive is 25.
Okay, you can see it.
What do my giant eyes see? I got 27.
Sorry. 20.
Yeah, mine's only a 20.
Okay.
I actually rolled a 34 because I rolled a 19.
Well, all of you guys see it. So the woman kind of running next to him is taller and bulkier. She looks maybe Callan. The man is very skinny, wearing some very light, relatively roguish armor. He has a rapier.
Is it Brennan Declan?
Yep. He has a rapier. It's gender bent, Brennan Declan. He has a rapier and a dagger drawn. He's also staring up, but his eyes are kind of following down. He's got kind of messy hair, and he's handsome, but on the skinny side. You recognize an old roguish ally of yours. Well, not really ally, but it's Engelhart.
What the fuck is that motherfucker doing here?
Is that the guy from the forest?
When we went to Orithil,
The one you
That's the
tied
guy
to.
that he, like,
and I
Yeah.
teleported the 2 smuggling people away.
What a
It is
son of a
canon
bitch.
that he has moved to and lives in Vyros.
Mm-hmm.
You motherfucker.
He completely ignores Amon and chases after him.
Oh shit! And those 2 run in. They can't get close enough though. And Remy.
I will grab the sides of my Cloak of the Bat and flit 40 feet over, and then make attacks with my swords. Please. A 25 is a miss.
Miss.
A 27 is a hit.
Hit.
18 is a crit. 8 on the die. And a natural 20 is a crit. How many attacks was that? 3 or 4?
That's 4
I think
so
you
far.
was it miss,
was-
hit, crit, crit?
Yeah.
Miss, hit, crit, crit.
Yeah, okay. So it's going to be 2, 3d4, 4, 8, 12, 16d6, and 48 plus 21. Roll. That's going to be 59 plus 26 plus 16. So 60, 85, 95, 101.
101.
Dunzo.
Elishan.
What Remy really needs is shield.
Elishan, he's taken off down the street. He's like way out of well, she could follow, but she's pregnant and she doesn't really want to run. And so,
They've got it.
so she's just going. She knows that even if we defeat him or if he escapes, he's just going to come back again some other day to do this all over again. And it might be at a time whenever we're not, we weren't prepared for it now and we're barely hanging on. So she's going to make sure that this can't happen again. And she's going to look down the street and she's going to look at Amon. And she says, whenever we're done with you today, we will be done with you forever. I wish to have your phylacteries in my hand and the means to destroy them. And so she's wishing to have his phylacteries.
God damn, dude.
I feel like your baby is going to come out just like glowing like Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's up to the DM. So her strength is going to drop to 3 for 7 days.
Oof.
Because this is gonna like the DM. You get to. This is I stated my wish. So you get to grant it. You get to.
This is the first time I've seen a wish played in actual play.
Yeah, me too.
Very excited.
But yeah, she's going to wish for Amon's phylacteries to be in her hand.
Well, Elishan dies as a gigantic.
No,
Just
I
like
mean,
a boulder the
that
size
is-
of
like
a city.
sage
Just...
appears and just like
That
smashes down.
I mean, if that's where his phylacteries are, she's wishing for his phylacteries to be in her hands and the means to destroy them.
So, in your hands appear 2 beating black hearts, like oozing sort of viscous blood, and you hear Amon like howl with fear and fury. Though, for the means to destroy them, nothing appears in your hands.
Okay. So I have that, and then Elishan can no longer cast Wish.
Ever?
Ever.
Wow.
Oh,
Waste.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'll be mean to you this game.
You have been. I'm trying to do something useful, so
Yeah,
this is
that's
the only
awesome.
way Elishan is going to be
That's
fucking
a good one.
useful. So yeah, she's going to have like 2 beating hearts in her hand, and she's going to like drop to her knees.
So everyone
and
else
kinda, like,
is...
suddenly Byron and Remy turn around. No, my hearts.
Everyone else is trying to kill one Amon. You're about to kill 2 Amons in one go, so...
yeah,
You're gonna
I
be
can't.
ahead.
Yeah. So that's that's my go.
Okay.
So
Yeah, but I rolled the D20 or D100 like 5 times before I cast it. Each time it was above a 33. The time it actually matters, it's an 8.
Oh,
That's an
Inspire?
honor.
Can
Well, you want to
inspire?
tell her, or should I?
Huh?
What?
I'm just fucking with you guys.
Oh, that was beautiful, Jade.
I
Inspiration.
imagine Elishan's also like sitting in the street with a strength of 3 now. You just
Yeah.
kind of fall
Yeah, she
down.
just kind of like
touch
sags.
Why can't
Sag
I
from
hold all
the-
these hearts?
Yeah, she just sags to the ground, like leaning on the frame of the Rutherford estate.
For your wish, or for your notes, Dan, Vela did 41 damage.
Thank you.
Amon's go. He is going to clutch his hands over his chest where the last black heart is beating, and disengage and run 80 feet down the street towards the woman and Engelhart,
Oh no.
who are both going to take some attacks. Both miss, and it's actually physically impossible for Engelhart to hit on anything but 20. So, but they like kind of stop him, I imagine, and sort of like striking at him. But Amon is just like, you know, he's a godlike being. They just can't touch him. Willow, she can't catch up, so she's gonna run back towards Elishan to see if she can help Byron.
Byron is very large right now. Can Byron take Remy with him as a free action?
Sure, man.
Okay, so this, like, he has just blasted this thing into the floor, and then you came in stabbing it, and there's a moment, and you see that Byron is still there, whatever this giant flaming Byron is. He just lifts a hand, and you are now flying with him as he flies 300 feet around. Or I could
Let's
actually
finish
catch him on the walk, but
Remy will just look at Byron and say,
Let's finish this, Hux.
Door.
you see him like with direct purpose at this tiny Amon in comparison. He flies over Engelhart, and the woman flies through these streets, comes to like a skidding halt. And in one hand, he holds his most deadly magics, and in the other hand, he holds his most deadly weapon, just Remy. I am going to.
Do the thing.
What thing is that you want me to do?
Kill.
Just
Amon.
kill him. I will attempt it. So I can just cast giant crazy fire spell a second time. Because it costs no spell slots to do it. So he reaches out one palm again, a titan in this street, and he is going to turn it to glass.
That's a cool forward.
Okay. And
paper towel.
43. And 186, and once more. Okay, that's more like it. 167. Sorry, 267 damage.
You kill him on.
Woo!
The fire like crackles out, and you see Amon's body just engulfed in flame, and then his skin and flesh and bone burns away until just the heart remains, and then it just crumbles slowly into dust. Elishan, you feel one of the hearts in your hand begin to heat up violently, slowly, well, quite quickly getting hotter and hotter and hotter.
I'm going to stab into it with the dagger.
If you can lift it.
Yeah.
I mean, dagger is a finesse weapon.
Sure.
So...
You feel like you feel some resistance, as though the dagger isn't going to go in, and then you put like all your weight on it, and it just slides in, and the heart begins crumbling again, and the heat immediately fades, and then immediately the other heart begins to heat as well, as you feel his soul moving between phylacteries, desperate to find a foothold in this plane.
Can I stab into that one too?
You can.
I'm gonna do that.
And after a moment, that too dies. And you know for a fact that Amon is gone from this world forever. We all go to level 21.
You could give us an epic boon.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like a lot of effort. If we do another one shot, you can have one.
Okay, fair enough.
And so you stand in the ruined street. Byron's a giant fire angel, etc.
Think I'm gonna skip out before the bill comes due on these ruined streets, Byron.
He looks down to you, still in his hand, and goes, You have one last event to attend.
Oh, you mean that was a joke. Stick around for a while.
I love the idea that you're just bantering, and this guy's like so big that like you're being like slightly blown back by his.
Yeah, 100%. It's like
I
Byron's
will-
mouth's a leaf blower.
You got something stuck in your teeth, Hux. It's fire.
But then Remy will open a door to the pocket dimension he created for Byron's family, and then go in, and a couple minutes later open it again and let them out back into the ruined house.
Can I have made efforts to repair said house?
I mean, you have wish. You also have. Can't you make your illusions real?
I can temporarily. So he's going to put things to work. Like brace the house at least initially, and maybe his unseen servant like gets to work just like sweeping things up.
Green's like press a button on his sword, it turns into a broom.
Greatest sweeper known to man.
Elishan's just gonna sit. She's real tired, y'all.
Arthas is gonna come over and like change form, and he looks a bit banged up, but he's all right. Puts his arms around her, lifts her up probably.
I think I got him.
Yeah, I think we did.
Byron is like stepping along the street, and as he steps, like he gets smaller and smaller, smaller, because I think he only had one more round of that.
Yeah.
I mean, he comes to a stop in front of his family and the house that he's posted up, and Elishan, he'll reach out a hand to hold Elishan's hand. You're You were a gift, and now it's over.
Yeah. Hopefully for good.
I have
Look at the blackened smears from where Amon's like burning hearts were.
Yeah.
Remy's gonna take his pinky and stick it in the smear and sniff it.
Smells real bad.
He's gonna taste it a little bit.
Tastes real bad.
I was just curious.
Wiping on his pants.
You see, like, the group of guards and Engelhart and the woman kind of approaching slowly. But you have a few moments before they arrive.
Rose is going to walk over and lay a hand on Elishan and cast Greater Restoration.
Boom. Invincible party.
That doesn't help.
Oh.
It won't help.
She's
gonna try it anyway. She's gonna try it anyway.
Yeah, she's gonna like kind of lean into it, and let's say thank you. But I'm still really tired.
Oh, let's get you some bonbons. Put your feet up.
Remy will light a cigar.
Next year on Titty Island, eh?
Yeah, it lasts for 7 days, unless I spend an entire day in bed doing nothing.
Yeah.
Then it
I
drops
imagine that's what you're
for
gonna do.
2 days. It'll drop for every 2 days I spend doing nothing but rest. So yeah, and I rolled a 3 and a 4 on my d4s. 7 days. She's gonna have 3 strength.
I turn back to the guards. I have pressing business to attend to. Can we deal with the ramifications later?
They all sort of look at each other. And like, I imagine the street kind of looks like it's slowly fixing itself with like your illusions and whatnot.
Sure.
And they'll just sort of seem a little bit lost for words.
Is that Engelhart?
Hello?
Come here, you little shit.
I'm not comfortable with it. And he like takes a few steps back.
So
And
we know you, but we don't know you. And Rose will point to the woman.
yeah, the woman is currently stepping between Engelhart and Remy.
You've got entirely too many clothes on you.
I assume you're saying that to Engelhart rather than the woman, because that's
That
really
didn't
weird.
sound the way you thought it meant.
Give me your pants.
And he's gonna take out his dagger and point it at him.
I will not. Please stay back. I'm definitely not comfortable with this. I did not expect.
I am the king of Frosthaven, savior of Neath, favorite of the Lady of Pain, and master of the Astral Sea. You will give your pants to me.
And the
It's good to see you, Engelhart.
yes, it is. You notice, like a glance, he has a pretty hideous scar under his left eye that wasn't there when you last saw him. And he just says, yes, lovely to see you too, but he's not taking his eyes off Remy. And the woman kind of sees that Remy's kind of joking with him and sort of chuckles. And you can see she's got kind of like pointed ears, much like Elishan's, but she looks definitely northern.
Engelhart was the thief, right? The guy that I
Yeah.
left out. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The one Elishan didn't get along with.
Yeah, he
either.
was a super jerk. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was.
and a liar
That too.
and racist. Elishan is surprised to see him with an elf or half elf.
Mm. And the woman says, hello? You are... She's kind of frowning at the group of you.
I'm Elishan.
And we're her friends.
Well, they're really more like my subjects, honestly, if we're talking them, straight shooting. But, yeah, they're friends.
These are the ones I told you about. Engelhart kind of says, like, slightly timidly from behind her. And you see her kind of frown in kind of confusion, like doing some mental arithmetic. And then her face kind of breaks into a wide smile. And she says, well, it seems I owe you a thank you. She kind of like holds out a hand to each of you to shake.
At least one.
Remy will shake her hand.
And Rose, when you get close, you see that she's got a holy symbol of Tyr around her neck, and like all her stuff's emblazoned with Tyr shit.
Emblazoned with tear shit.
Top tier shit.
What do we owe the thank you for?
Well, really, I would not have met Engelhart if it was not for you. And he would not be the person he is today if it was not for you. So,
I'm glad he took the opportunity of a second chance with full vigor.
We scare you straight.
Remy will get right up in his face.
I wouldn't say scared me straight, but you certainly gave me.
Remy will go, "Wah!"
Oh. Well, anyway, it's been
Good on you.
thank you. And like you remember, yeah, he was a liar. Didn't really care much for elves, and spoke like 14 languages was sort of his thing. He was a what is
Polyglot.
it? Polyglot. Fuck. And he kind of still looks unnerved by Remy and kind of like slides towards Byron a bit, just to steer clear. And Odd says, the woman says, well, I am Odd, Sigvaldi daughter, and I will speak to the guards for you on this, if that will make things easier.
By all means, I will make an official report after our ice raid is done.
Of course.
Thank you for your assistance. That enemy is beyond many.
Well, I'm not sure we had much to do with it. You, well, you are a giant flying angel, so I really think the victory goes to you, but thank you nonetheless.
You helped. Or at least you charged towards danger.
I appreciate it.
Not everyone would do the same.
Well, enjoy your ice rain. I think we'll go. And Engelhart's like nodding quite profusely.
See you later. See you later, Engle Dingle.
Goodbye, Remington, he says. Kind of turns like to walk away, kind of glancing over his shoulder every so often to make sure you're not chasing him to cut off his pants.
If you need a teleportation sometime, do get in touch.
We will, thank you. Ord calls back.
Well, that was good fun. Good to fight with you again.
Next time, I'd like it not to be so close to home.
Any aid we can give you in returning your home to it's normal, I guess you could say. I would be happy to see to it.
I would appreciate that. For now, though, I have, and he looks to like all of the Rutherfords gathered in the street or something. I have a distraction. He's just gonna like send a message to. Does he have like some sort of student cleanup crew or something that he could get to be deployed here to fix up the house?
Yeah, 100%.
He then looks to everyone. Come with me. I have something planned. And he is going to like slide his like the Magneto-esque helmet of teleportation on, and like reach out a hand to Elishan, who's still on the ground, and then he'd like to teleport people in groups of 8,
For sure.
presuming they are willing,
Yeah.
and
as
we will.
So as you're doing this, you see like kind of a few people like pop, like in and out of existence around the house and begin like looking into fixing it. But where are you teleporting them?
I am teleporting them all to the Virus Theatre Royal, and he's been there previously to pick up an object that belongs there. So this teleport is 100% accurate. And people appear in chairs, in the front row, the seats, in
Do
quick
we have
succession.
the musical number?
If I could sing any good, I would ramp this up to a musical number, but unfortunately that is not my talent. And then finally he arrives. I think there is a moment where, like, he is popping backwards and forwards, and people are being placed in seats, and everyone is just watching. And Vela has been popped in alone upon the stage. And then he pops in with the final group of Rutherfords onto the stage himself. He turns to the gathered audience, and there are lights. And then there is music.
Remy will sit next to Elishan and hold her hand while the
Okay.
show goes on.
Duh.
Now, if we're all ready, I have one last gift. And he reaches out a hand to Vela. I've been practicing for some time, and the music raises, and the lights dim, and there is a dance. And he has, more than anything, he has been working on for the last 2 years. It may be this performance, because she's a whatever level monk, and he's not good. Physical things, and there was a show, and he puts it on as best he can, and they dance upon the Virus Theatre Royal. This is, and he speaks. This is the real dance floor to which we first danced upon, but now you're in full health, surrounded by friends and family. And people's minds cast back to the previous ice rain. This is the stage that he replicated for them to dance on in the forest.
There's like tears rolling down her cheeks, and she's all red because she's on stage and a bit embarrassed.
And the music, it winds down, and there is a final twirl. The least likely couple, dressed as if king and queen. And they're like full extension, his hand holding her hand and her out before him. To think of all the gifts I've worked so hard for, and to have my greatest gift of all just walk into my library. There is emotion behind his eyes as he kneels. He presents a ring, a stone of darkest obsidian with the smallest hint of red, the stone he had had since a child to warm his hands against cold nights. You are my warmth, my light, my love. Will you be so forevermore?
She's like, kind of hands on her cheeks, and she kind of takes like a step towards you, and her eyes are wide, and she says, "Yes."
Remy goes, yeah! crowd stands up and starts clapping.
Yeah. Standing ovation as you put the ring on her finger.
Yeah, stand, embrace
Elishon's crying again.
with all her strength.
Everyone's crying.
And then basically the music picks back up again, and they have a party, a show into the night, akin to the previous.
Willow,
The music
like,
from the end of Willow plays.
yeah, Willow grabs Rose and like drags her up onto the stage and joins the dance, and the rest of the Rutherfords and everyone else does as well. Though I think Arthas might have to dance like carrying Elishan.
Yeah. She's just leaning on him. It's like it's not like that high energetic like spin dancing like they were doing like the first time around, because
Yeah,
he
they're
was like
just kind
all
of
like
swaying off to one side, I imagine.
yeah, because he was all like super excited that like yeah she said yes, and then tried to like swing her off the out into the atmosphere.
And so, as the day comes to an end, snow falling on Vyros, tears falling in the theatre, we'll call an end to the session there.